We are live, folks.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Glad you let me know.
Oh yeah. In the hall. I mean, in those chairs to the right, when you go all the way down the hall.
Man, I have a sinus infection of this world.
For real?
Yes, Lord. I was with Losis yesterday, man. I was miserable all evening, all night. Went home early this morning, miserable, had a headache, couldn't shake it. And I finally woke up around noon. I'm like, I'm finally over it, you know? Yeah, I wore out.
It's fall.
Out.
We say we were live.
Sure, it's a sinus infection, nigga. It ain't COVID.
No, it ain't no COVID. No, it ain't no COVID. No. Because his wife gave me the nasal spray for allergies and stuff.
It started clearing
Immediately started clearing up. Yeah.
We all damn, we all
I'm
down there 50 and above.
We all got COVID now.
I'm paranoid.
This nigga that killed the whole table.
Yeah,
That's why we got that damn shot. So I don't want to have to deal with it.
Nothing, man. You can't talk to black people about nothing, man. Oh.
Yeah, B, I'm gonna have to back it up. I mean, keep going. All right, that should be good now. You,
I can see it here.
let me see.
Closer. I can see it here.
Yes, that should be good. You straight.
It's just half of us. You and me, it's just half of us.
That's all they need. They couldn't take all of us.
Only half of me is here today.
They couldn't take all of us.
Only half of me is here today, so only half of me is gonna talk.
That's funny.
What's up, everybody? We got 4 people in there right now, man. Hit those like buttons. That's the thumbs up in case you don't know, man. Appreciate y'all for being here.
Thank
What's
you.
going on, man?
Subscribe if you're
Hope
not.
everybody out there doing good, staying COVID free, and hopefully you're not a Haitian immigrant.
There you go.
Right here,
Cause it's rough right now, boy. Rough. Yeah, we're gonna get into it though. But I'm your boy Big Ruck.
I'm Brother Ron.
Brother Los.
Brother Jam.
And your brother Bishop.
And we are
the Daily Smoke.
And listen, y'all, don't forget anything we talk about. If y'all got anything to say, whether you oppose, you agree, indifferent, whatever, you got something to say, call in, man. The phone number is 281-858-3107.
Even if you got a topic you want to talk about.
Exactly.
You know?
Throw a topic up.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. B, at whenever you get a chance, post the phone number up in the comments. Yeah.
All right, we're all good to go, gentlemen. I can hear you clearly.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I wanted to first give a shout out to my boy Lavelle, who was on the podcast Monday. Man, gotta meet that dude, man.
I caught pieces of the show, and he seemed like a real interesting cat. I was like, okay, that's a dude I wouldn't mind kicking it with for a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he told me some things about himself before when we were on the movie set where I met him at and shit. And man, dude got levels. Yeah, he it's a lot to him, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
He fit right in. Too.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, he fit right in.
Yeah, man.
It's always nice when you find brothers like that. Man.
Definitely.
Them kindred spirits, you know.
Exactly. Shit, that's what our circle made of.
That's what he said about you when he met you.
Exactly.
You felt that right there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes, man. That's how you know real people when you meet them.
That's right.
Right.
When people say real, recognize real. It may be cliche, but it's real.
It's true.
Yeah. That's why I say sometimes if I'm introducing you to somebody that's with me, it's like I'm introducing myself again.
Exactly.
That's like
And see,
same
exactly.
people.
That's one thing I can say about Ruck is throughout all the years that I've known him, and mind you, we met 9th grade in high school.
Man,
But all the years that I've known you always been good. When you find somebody who's real like that, you're not just gonna keep them to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna bring around the boys, you're gonna bring around the fellas. Hey, dude, this my boy. I met him, he cool, he is. and you introduce them, and that's how the family always grew.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Got to, man. Got to keep good people together, man.
Right.
Got to.
It's rare these days.
Yeah, man.
that's an understatement. You ain't got too many real ones out there no more.
It's true, man. Oh, man. I remember one day, I don't know if you remember this conversation, man. Speaking of that whole thing about our circle, man.
Okay.
And I told you about this conversation that we had. He actually schooled me on something one day because, you know, within our circle, it's just certain shit we just don't have to deal with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I remember I used to go to his house. We'd be chilling all night long, you know, sitting up in the room, smoking, talking,
Listening to
philosophizing,
music,
listening to music, looking at girls on whatever, you know,
Yeah.
Just daily
being
smoking.
dudes.
Just daily
Yeah,
smoking.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I remember, man, I had started going back to school, and I was running into a lot of cats who seemed like they were, you know, like-minded. You know what I'm saying? We all doing music and all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
we run into a lot of cats. And I remember I had befriended a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? And we was like hanging pretty tough or whatever. And I started noticing, man, that after about a month or two, you know, certain personality traits in these dudes started
Would emerge.
showing up, you know, and I'm like, man, you know, dude. So, you know, I pull dudes to the side and be like, yo, man, you know, that wasn't cool or whatever the case was, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And, you know, I had one situation where these dudes, I came to his house and his girlfriend was standing outside the door and she was crying and he didn't want to let her in. And, you know, he had introduced me to her before, so I knew her. And so I knocked on the door. You know, he didn't want to let me in or whatever. I guess he was mad at her, so he didn't want her to have no access or whatever.
Okay.
And make a long story short, she asked me to drop off at her mom's house. I texted him and I said, yo, is that cool? She asking me to take her to her mom's house. I'm already going in that direction. Is that cool with you? If not, then
Say
I'll
say
just
so.
leave her
That's
here.
it. Yeah.
You know. And then he was like, nah, that's cool, man. Do whatever. So I texted back, are you sure? You cool with that? I did that on purpose. He said, yeah, man, I don't give a shit. It's cool, whatever. Take her wherever she want to go.
Okay.
So I was like, bet. Now she's standing outside bawling, right? Crying and shit. So I drop off at her mama house. On the way to her mama house, she telling me about what happened between them. I'm not even responding. I'm just like, you know,
Like,
because I don't want to get into
right.
it. You know, I don't want to have
doing some
nothing to
generic
do-
ass responses.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like- So he calls me the next day and says something to the, no, he texts me the next day and says something to the effect of, yo, my nigga, if you want her, you can have her.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
Started
yeah.
the story.
When he
Right.
said it, I knew that.
Right. So I ain't gonna even get into how all of the rest of that went, but I cut him off. But I was telling you about it one day,
Mhm.
and I was like, man, I don't understand why all of these niggas is they stupid. I like shit. I don't have to deal with that with y'all, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was like, dude, I don't get it. Like, what the hell is what's going on, dog?
We respect each other
And you
enough.
sat there and you said, bro, you know that the way we move in our circle ain't the norm.
Right.
And I was like, I never thought about it. You know what I'm saying? And he started explaining to me. He was like, man, the rest of the world don't move like we move.
Nah.
You know, so you just experiencing what's really out there. You just used to dealing with us. And now you back in school and you dealing with different people and you kind of, you know, befriending them.
Yeah.
And I was putting the expectations of my circle on everybody else,
Right.
which I think you should do because those expectations are just moral expectations.
Right.
It's
You know what
having,
I'm
it's,
saying?
it's having standards.
Exactly.
It's having standards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But everybody doesn't move like that, man. And when you said that, it made me realize something. So I started moving different. Well, I didn't start moving different because I moved the same all the time. But I started watching people differently. I started paying more attention before I actually draw them in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, over the course of the years, dude, you know, I mean, there was a time when we all hung, I hung with everybody real tight. And then, of course, there's times when I pull back. And it's nothing to do with anybody. That's just how I operate. I got to fade into the woods for a little bit, study, learn some things, and then I come back and share it with y'all. But over the course of the time, just say in the last few years that I just kind of been rolling solo, I can literally count maybe maybe three. I give myself 3 that I can count who I would consider real.
Yeah.
Everybody else, you just meeting their representative.
Yeah.
You meet the facade, and then as you get to know them, you realize, oh, okay, that's where the facade is.
Right.
And nothing wrong with that if that's how you are. Everybody has their public face.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just what you find once you get past the public face.
Right.
I don't need to see your face. I just need to hear you talk to me.
And 9 times out of 10, if you're listening, that's going to tell you everything you need to know.
Most of the time, just by hearing you, what you're telling me, how you're talking to me, I already know if I'm going to remember your name or not after I walk away from here. And most of the time, I don't remember your name. If I walked away, remember who you were, you might be somebody that I can. And then that's where I go back where you said, I expect.
Exactly.
You see how I am. Why would you do something messed up to me?
Exactly.
So I'm letting you in. But my thing is once you mess that up, you don't exist anymore.
Right.
You are out of. I don't even know who you are anymore. You're done.
Right.
One job.
It's like they give another chance. I gave you a chance before I even knew who you were.
Right. Right.
me holding the conversation with you
to
was the
for you to burn me after you know that. I'll give you whatever you need. I'll feed you whatever you need. Just ask. You know that's the kind of person that is.
Right.
You burnt that. Boom, you're done. See you bye.
Dude,
you got all your chances in one time, and that's it. You're done. I can't mess with you no more.
One job that I used to work, they would hire temps, to come in. And I had been there for a little bit, so I got promoted, whatever. I wasn't, just a regular. I was a lead at the job or whatever. So very often I was in charge of training the new temps coming in. And they started really finding it funny that after the first day, I could always tell who was going to last.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, she ain't going to make it. That don't mean I'm going to train you any different. That don't mean I'm going to do anything different about you. I'm not going to sabotage you. I'm going to give you the same level of treatment that I would give anybody else. But I've already peaked where you were.
Right.
Our conversation during the course of that first day tells me whether or not you're going to last. Oh, absolutely. And it got to the point where I could even almost get it down to the months. 3 months, 4 months. Yeah. They might make it a year, that kind of stuff.
We used to bet on who's gonna make it. And the thing is, there was a about 64, about 63, small white guy with a beard like Ruck's, longer, and he looks like he just came from under the bridge. He came in as a temp. I was like, he ain't gonna last a couple of days because we build him with pipes, that's over thousands of pounds, and this. He outdid everyone in that warehouse.
Say word.
And he was the most loyal employee there every single day. You asked him to do this, he may complain, but it wasn't a complaint.
Yeah.
And he did the job.
You read that book as soon as you saw it.
Meanwhile, these young cats coming in and think they're just all the shit and all this and that, and you can't tell me what to do. Some of them I might have to let go. I got to that position. And I was like, dude, I'm telling you what upper management, they saying that you need to go, but they leaving it up to me to let you go. Yeah. And I'm giving you heads up weeks and months ahead of time, and you still effing up.
Supreme Bob. Supervisor Bob.
Remember, that's the same supervisor that smoked with his home.
With his homeboy fired
him. Fired him for smoking.
Yes, man. Bobby
I was in that position. That's crazy. When he smoked too, so you fired too, right?
Damn,
that was Supervisor Bob, dude. That was Supervisor Bob. And when I asked him, like, Bobby, why you fired him? Shouldn't have been smoking.
What?
As he coughing.
Smoking.
What?
What?
You should have been smoking.
What? I'm about to fire you, man. Go ahead.
What?
Like for what?
God.
Smoking?
Much heads
That
up. I
would
was
scare
tired
me.
to give you. Like,
Yeah.
dude, they're saying about they want you out of here,
Yeah.
but they leaving it up to me to get you out. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like real
That's
shit,
my money.
real shit. Yeah, you can't jeopardize your own job.
Right.
You told him ahead of time, yo, man, you need to straighten up.
At the very least, that's when you start looking for a new one. You
Right.
know, at the very least.
Right.
You know,
Right.
even if you don't want to straighten up and fly right, that's when you
Right.
start, okay, let me put some other irons in the fire.
Right.
But
Oh yeah, and I will say this, man. I appreciate you saying that I was always good about bringing people in,
no, dude, that's your specialty.
but it just slipped by one, like maybe twice, but one really good time, dog. And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Talking about
Terry
Terry
the cat.
What's funny is because of that cat, he didn't like me when I first met him.
Right,
It wasn't
because
nothing to do with me. Like, oh no.
yeah, man.
But look, everybody's entitled to mess up every once in a while. Nobody,
Right.
nobody got a spotless record. Hell, all of it. I think. Well, I don't know about you, Ron, but I think hell, all of us at the table probably been divorced at least once.
No.
I ain't never been divorced.
No.
Okay.
But it was the same situation.
Same situation. Yeah.
And I was the screw
It
up.
took me.
The biggest part of the screw up.
It took me a lot. I figured that out quicker than you did about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I was like, man, something don't make sense.
That's
It's all about, dude. I can't do this.
And that's one thing I will say about you, Rick. You're an optimist. You look for the best in people. You
You're
know,
supposed to.
and don't get me wrong. That's nothing wrong with that. That's actually the best way to be. I myself, I consider myself to be an optimist. I look for the best in people, but I've just learned. You know, I observe first.
Yeah.
And then I pass judgment. I could hope the best.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but I had to learn because
Right.
got burned too many times.
Right.
You know, trust you, invest in you, and then have you turn around and do some shady stuff. Nah, you gotta go.
No, but that's what I do. I'll give you that chance. I want to see if you come into contact with someone like me that you know, man, I'll give you the shirt off my back if I can do it.
Right.
I'm giving you the chance to show me that you can be a person that can
That
be
deserves
loyal.
that.
Come on,
Right.
but
Right.
so
Some
I'll give you
people
a
will
chance to
rise
burn
to the
yourself.
occasion. Some
Right.
people will
Right.
rise to the occasion. Don't get me
Those
wrong.
that don't exist. Simple as that.
I've had people tell me, man, I never met anybody like you. People just trust, you know, somebody who just trusted me and you know relied on me, and because of that, I felt like I had to do more. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that's how we elevate other people to come along to where we are. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we perfect by any stretch of the imagination,
No.
but when you've dealt with cats for as long as we've dealt with each other, and you know, I might not talk to you for 5 years,
Yeah.
but I know if I call you and say I need and you can do,
It's
you will
done.
do.
It's
Same
done.
thing for you, and I know same thing for you, same thing for Bob.
Yes, sir.
These are dudes who I don't have to, who I know I could count on.
Exactly.
You know, and same thing I hope y'all say about me.
Most definitely.
So-
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. Which is why I'm so glad you're here, man.
Absolutely.
Which is why
Oh,
I'm so
man.
glad you're here. You know,
Absolutely.
I've been fighting. I've been fighting to get you back in the fold.
Dude.
Not that you ever left the fold, but you know,
All you
you
had to
was
do
on your hiatus. and
all
I,
you had
know,
to do was ask, man. Because of course I was sitting back watching y'all do this, and I was like, man, I see what they trying to do, and I really was proud of y'all sitting back, you know, just looking at it from a distance. But I was like, if they ever ask, I had already made up my mind. You know, if they ever ask, I'll do it. Sure, you know. And so Bobby called me and he said, hey, come on the show. I was like, okay, well, make sure everybody's cool with it. You know, I don't want to be.
And you heard.
I don't know why you would ask that.
Right.
You know,
Well, you know what? I
Bob's
do
voice
understand in a
But
way
you-
because it's a show. You know,
That's what I'm
like
saying.
I know.
I do understand.
I don't want to
I
be.
feel
I don't want to be the Johnny
that.
come lately, you know, and just be like, oh, y'all done already got this thing going, and here I come, you know, just trying to jump
If it wasn't
in.
that type of situation,
Right.
it would be more like,
Yeah.
I could just show up. They
Now,
don't
if it
say
was,
nothing.
if I had been here from day one,
This is the
fine.
thing, Carlos.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be on this show.
Yeah.
You're watching, but you're like one of our biggest commenters.
You know.
Come on
Look, this the wise man right here. Dude. That's the wise man up on the mountain right here.
Y'all sit next to each other.
The reason I'm that is because what I always say, because I'm old.
Jesus, Abraham, and the
How old are
Holy
you?
Ghost.
Right?
56? Okay. I'm knocking. I'm 47. I'm about to hit 50.
Yeah, I mean, I'm where I get when I hear them talk about something that's old to them, like that's old to y'all, man. That's way back,
Man.
That wasn't that old.
Man, I was when I was stopped by my mom's on the way over here, and she was talking about back in the day when her and my auntie used to go to the movies.
Yeah.
Dude, movies used to cost a nickel.
Yep.
Yeah, I
You
heard.
can stay and watch movie all day long.
Right. You pay a nickel and you was in all day. I was
Right,
like, what? Huh? How?
Right? Or take
Dude,
some. Or
I'm not
take
lying. My mom has told me stories about picking cotton. Now they wasn't slavery.
Right.
They wasn't slaves,
Right.
but they was getting
Yeah.
paid to pick cotton. But hell, that was just something you did. When it
Yeah.
was cotton picking season, the
Yeah, that
whole
was the
family,
time.
mom, dad, all the kids,
They
everybody,
survived.
because everybody got paid.
Yeah.
Right.
So everybody would just go out to the fields and pick cotton. That's
Yeah.
just what you did.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, can you imagine some of these teenagers, kids nowadays, and you tell them, okay, we finna go out and pick some cotton.
Boy. My God.
The day they smoke on, I ain't going out.
They would think you mean we gonna go get some t-shirts.
Right. Pick up some blue jeans
Go
or
get some
something.
t-shirts.
Right. Is that new slang for going
Right.
to the Levi's
shopping.
store?
Right.
Yeah. Are we going to the Levi's store, Dad? Is that where we're going?
Try it if you want.
Or did you really mean what the slaves do?
Well,
You know, like, no.
Try it if you want. These youngsters, boy.
Man, I'm trying to tell you.
Except those that live around that to make money, they would do it because it makes
They know,
money,
yeah.
You know,
You go into some of these rural towns, they still understand, but you know, I mean, that was just an honest, hard day's work for them back then. It wasn't no shame about it, even though they knew the association of what it meant to our people historically. But at the same time, that was a way for the whole family to get paid.
Yeah.
right.
You know,
Quick, easy money during that season, and then go back to what you do, but you made some good money real quick.
that's
You know?
part of stuff like that is the reason why I started a garden, because my grandfather he was a farmer for business. That was what he did. He helped found the town of Prairie View. If anybody ever heard of Prairie View, you ever driving down Highway 290 and you see James Muse Parkway, that's my grandfather. He helped found the town of Prairie View. There was 18 families who got land grants from the government, and he was one of those 18 families. They basically, there was nothing out there. They started growing stuff, and because they needed certain supplies and things like that, of course, gas station popped up, convenience, well, back then it was general store, those kind of things all popped up surrounding them to support the farmers who were out there. That's really where Prairie View come from. So
A whole lot of shit out there now.
when I say, right, but when I say that shit is in my blood, because I grew up, he used to make us go out to the fields and pick watermelons. He used to make us go out in the fields and bale hay. We did all of that growing up in the summertime. My mom would send us up there for the summer. We'd be there for 3 months, and I come back 15 shades darker and about 15 pounds more muscle, because all we doing is hard work. That was labor.
That's what
Was
grandkids
you up
are
there
for.
with Jared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Jared was one of the few who I personally, now I won't say he never did it, but I never saw him out in the fields.
Yeah.
Because Aunt Tiny, his mom,
Yeah.
she wasn't having that. That was her baby. That was her one and only.
She is crazy.
Oh,
about Jared,
dude.
boy.
And I love her to death.
Oh,
Wouldn't
yeah.
trade it for the
I
world.
do too.
But
man.
my goodness, that woman was protective of her son.
Oh,
And
she still is.
Oh, yes.
She still is.
Thought you knew.
Hey, listen, y'all, man. So, like you said, we met we met before 9th grade. We met at Thomas.
Yes,
Damn.
we did. Yes,
met
we
at
did.
Thomas. We just didn't hang.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met at Thomas.
Middle
So we met in middle school, right? So me and him, we met, and then when we got to high school, we just got tight, right? We got real tight.
I did not like you.
I know. We're gonna get to that. But
Is that back with your high top?
Yeah, I was a little jealous, but you know that's another conversation.
Until I started cutting your hair and doing your
But then-
flat top. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying, dude? You had a brother tight.
So, make a long story short, peep this. So me and him meet each other in junior high, become closer after certain things in high school. But prior to all of that, his aunt and my mom are best friends.
Wow.
They call each other sisters.
Yeah.
So I know his aunt and I call her my aunt.
Wow.
And her son Jared, me and him was like this growing up.
Yeah.
And we didn't find this out until we was deep in our 30s almost?
Yeah, damn near.
Yeah, crazy. Small world, man.
I'm trying to tell
Yeah.
you. And he's
It was
the
lit.
reason.
It was
And
lit.
he was the reason that I got into comic books.
Ah, that's right. You told
Yeah,
me that.
he was the reason.
That's
that I
how
got
we
into
started having that conversation.
Yep. Because
That's right,
it was his comic book collection that I used to sit at when I would go hang out with him. All we do is sit out. He'd be like, read this one, read that one, read this one. And I'm just reading them something like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Where has this been all my life? You know?
Oh, one more thing before we get into the topic. This is also the brother that got me into reading books.
So right
I get blamed for that, man.
He used to be the trainer for the football team, right?
Yeah.
And so we all lived real close to the school. So since me and him was real tight, while he was up there training, I would just come up there sometime and hang out with him.
I was trying to get you to do it, but I knew you wasn't gonna do it.
I wanted to play basketball and all of that type of stuff. And
It was too much. It was too much of a servant role for you. I got that though.
I guess that's what it was.
Yeah.
Probably so.
Right.
That's bad though when you think about
Not
it.
really. Not really. Certain people is cut out to do certain things.
That's
all
true.
it
That's
is.
true.
Right.
But peep this. So I go out and hang out with him, right? And he would start telling me about these books that he was reading from
And Rice.
Anne Rice, who is also one of my favorite all-time authors. Like I love Anne Rice, right? So he would sit there and narrate the book that he read from Anne Rice, and it was myself and I think like two other people.
It was you,
David,
Bobby.
and David. Yes, it was three of us, and we would sit there like this.
Like, what happened next?
Right. The whole time he telling us these stories, and he's a really good storyteller too.
Absolutely.
Really good stuff. And it got me into it, man. I started reading. I got just about every book she done wrote. And I just started reading from then. I love it, man.
That woman can write.
Yes, she
Jessica
can.
said to read.
What she said?
Need to read some. What is that? Khalil need to read some.
Oh,
Brown?
Khalil Gibran.
Oh, Khalil Gibran.
Gibran.
Yeah.
Khalil Gibran.
He is a phenomenal writer.
Oh wait,
He's from Iran.
who's the karate man?
Ron is the karate man.
Ron is the karate man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That dude right there. That dude right there, boy.
Yes, sir. What up, Cam? What's the deal,
That dude.
Karate man feeling it inside.
Boy, they got
I
jokes.
bleed on the inside.
I mean,
You know?
jokes.
And yes, Jessica. Yes, Jessica. I agree with you. People always show their true colors.
Right? Eventually.
Very. I know.
Very.
You got the Reggie
I'm just
Oh,
feeling,
man.
man. I had a sinus infection, man.
Yeah,
He got COVID.
man.
And so do we now.
Speak for yourself. I'm vaccinated.
And they still say you can get it.
There's a shield around me.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Man, so
What's up, Danny? What's up? What's up, Kristen? What's up, Chrissy?
Dude, they got evidence of you being a karate man.
No, man, don't worry about that shit. Keep
Keep
it moving, man. That shit on. Keep it moving.
Lord Jesus, all things are possible.
Bleed on the inside.
So butterfly effect.
Man,
So
what y'all think about what's going on down south, man? About the illustrious state of Texas at the border.
it's crazy.
What's going on at the border?
First we
Where's
saw
that
the Afghan people falling off of planes trying to get refuge, man.
Mm-hmm.
Craziness, and now we seeing this, man.
What's going on down there? Like recap, like
the U.S. ain't changed.
the issue.
Nah, it hasn't.
The U.S. ain't changed. The U.S. doing the same things it's always done. Yeah. I saw a video somebody did on TikTok the other day. And yes, I'm on TikTok. I freely admit that. But this young lady was talking about. She said the U.S. government gonna fuck around. She said the U.S. government gonna fuck around and find out about these Haitians. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to see what her point was, but she said Haitians ain't never played that, you know.
What the hell?
But okay. So
Don't worry about
she said Haitians.
Hold on one second. I got to know when he died.
My cousin say my grandmama got a
Y'all ain't get when I said, oh, they got evidence of you being
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's when I said they got evidence. He said, man, don't worry about that. I said, you say they got a picture.
Okay, we need to see that picture. I'm gonna need you to text that picture to somebody in this room. I don't know.
Hey man, you can text that picture to 281-858-3107.
We need to see this. We need to see
that. And if it don't come through, I will give you my phone number.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh shit! I forgot what I was saying.
Your grandma.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. The Haitians.
Haitians, right?
This chick said, she said the U.S. government gonna fuck around and find out with these Haitians. She said because Haitians don't play that. They you can only push them so far and they're gonna rebel. And then sure enough, like the next day in the news, you heard about a bunch of Haitians taking over a damn bus.
Yes.
Where they was trying to corral all of them up and put them on the bus, and the Haitians said, "Nah, fuck this."
Yeah.
They took over the bus.
Hey man, it's
Like,
in their nature.
you
man.
don't know about these Haitians,
Don't
man.
know,
You can't
man.
push them like
They
you
listen,
do.
if they listen to history, if they
What are
read
they
history,
gonna do to
'cause
us
they
here
the
in
ones-
Texas? They
they-
ain't messing with us.
Right.
Do what you want to do in Haiti,
Man.
but you ain't coming here to.
man.
But
Come
have
on
y'all
now.
seen the treatment of the people at the border?
Yes.
That's the thing, man.
Yes, and it's horrible. You got people on horseback, and it looked, but it's not really whips. It wasn't whips. What it really was the harsh rain.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it looked like whips, but it doesn't matter because
sentiment
they
is
were
the same.
using it as whips.
The thought behind it
right.
was the same.
It was the same. So it really doesn't matter, man. And that is ridiculous, dog. That's ridiculous.
But like I said, America don't change.
Exactly.
U.S. is doing the same thing it always does. When there's black and brown people who need help, fuck y'all.
Exactly.
Fuck y'all. Oh
Exactly.
wait, your country's already in turmoil. We helped
Right.
assassinate your president,
Right.
and y'all just suffered multiple major environmental things going on, the earthquakes, the hurricanes, and all of this.
Right.
Y'all just suffered through all of this,
Right.
and we're not going to offer y'all any kind of help.
Which, by the way, are all of the things that in the law previous to what they changed in 45's when he was the president.
Yeah.
Previous to the laws that they changed, all of those things that you just said are the things that make it available to you to come over here and seek asylum.
Thank you. But Biden is supposed to be so different from Trump.
Right. But
No, they're not.
not.
They both old white men.
Mhm.
I mean, like I said, I voted for Bush, but not because I wanted. I keep saying Bush, but they the same in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, I voted for Biden, but not because I wanted Biden, just because I didn't want Trump.
The lesser of two evils.
That's all it
And
was.
that's so messed up.
That-
because it's been like that the past few
It
years.
really has been like that for the majority of our lives.
Right.
You know,
Well, that's true.
you
That's
really don't have a
absolutely true.
choice as far as a good politician to vote for. There are very few. And
Right.
especially being in Texas, especially being in the deep South, especially being in a red state, you just don't have too much of a choice. Do you think? I'm pretty sure I can say this as a blanket statement. Did any of us vote for Abbott? No. He's not my governor, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
If there had been anybody running against him who, was valid at the time, I would have voted for them. I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. We're stuck in these, and I think y'all talked about it a little bit on the Monday show. We're stuck in this two-party system where you really don't have a choice because both parties are in the pockets of the money guys.
Right.
Yeah.
When money runs the show, you have no choice.
Absolutely.
There is no such thing as choice. Doesn't matter whether Democrats take money from the big pharmaceutical companies. Democrats take money from the big oil companies. Democrats, what was it? Just recently, there was there was a bill that was trying to get passed where they was going to send so many billions of dollars over to Israel for a fucking missile defense system.
Yeah.
The only thing that stopped them was you finally got enough progressives in Congress to say, nah, we're withholding our votes on this.
Yeah.
All they're going to do now is take it and put it in a military spending bill.
Right.
Because they know that's going to pass.
Right.
Because even Republicans are going to vote for that because they all in the pocket of the defense, what do you call them? The military industrial complex. All those companies, the Raytheons, the Black Rocks and all of them, they all in their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Born. Lockheed Martin.
Trying to tell you.
Right. Look, Jessica Cronin says, how can you tell a politician is lying? Their lips are moving.
Man,
That's about right.
Now, she also said something about some
American-
Afghan refugees that were sent to Indiana. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, so people are upset because we're taking in, I don't know if this was a part of what you were saying, but a lot of people are upset that we're taking in 86,000 Afghans,
Right.
but we're turning away 60-something Haitians at the border. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they already shipped back like what that plane that went back with some Haitians. I think it was like 300.
They've been releasing the hell out of them.
Yeah, they've been sending them back, and the Haitian, one of the planes was full of single male Haitian men, right? Male men. That's
Yeah.
But one of the planes
we're gonna let you make it on
right. One of the planes was just full of Haitian men, single, right?
Wow.
And they started attacking the pilots and the officers that were there. I mean, I don't blame them.
Right. What are you
Now-
sending me back to?
Exactly.
Now, for me though, is why we got to take them? Why we got to be the ones that they come to? We didn't have nothing to do with you and your little revolution down there.
That's a
Although
fair question.
although we did.
That's a fair question.
Why do we have to take you?
That's
Why
a
can't
fair
you go to Germany? Why can't you go to England? Why do we have to
That's a
take you?
fair question.
You know, we got enough people already here. So, I mean, I'm being devil. I understand what y'all are saying,
Right,
but
right,
it's
right.
fair
Yeah,
because
exactly.
in
Yeah.
reality,
Yeah.
this is my country.
I am
I
agreeing
do
with
what I
that, to
do,
be
and then
honest
all of a
with
sudden,
you.
like,
I'm really
why everybody
agreeing
gotta
with
come
that.
to me when y'all? I understand I'm the watchdog of the world and everything, but I ain't say y'all can come all here.
But
I ain't got nothing to
I
do
mean,
with your
but with
country. So
America,
why
to be
do we
honest
have
with
to
you,
take
to
you?
be honest with you, for that statement you just made, to me, that's the
Right.
main reason.
When you
Wow.
make yourself
They
the
the
biggest dog in the yard,
Exactly.
when you make yourself the biggest dog in the yard,
This
then
shit come with
you're
that.
responsible.
That's right.
No, I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
not
yes,
responsible. I'm
yes, you
responsible
are.
for if you act the fool, then I'm gonna come and say something. But as long as you're doing your thing in the world, I'm not gonna bother you. But
Because-
why do we have to?
But that's the thing.
Why don't they
America
go somewhere
doesn't
else?
leave
Why can't
anybody
they-
alone. America has never left
Yeah.
anybody alone.
Right.
We
You
can't stay
Nobody
out
else
of
supposed
other
to take
fucking
them,
folks'
but
business.
why we gotta take them?
We just spent
You
20
know?
years in Afghanistan. The minute we said we getting out, after we supposedly country built the country up for the last 20 years,
Mhm.
gave them money for their military, trained their guys. The minute we said we were gonna leave, what happened? Their government folded.
Mhm.
Their fucking prime minister or president or whoever he was, he ran. Their military guys said, "Oh, Taliban's coming in. Oh, we gonna join y'all.
Mhm.
Here's the guns. Here's the weapons. Here's the tanks. Here's the helicopters. Here's everything that the U.S. gave us." We put ourselves into those positions. We dig those trenches. We make them so that these countries fall apart, and then we look stupid. We hold up our hands and say, "But why y'all coming to us?" When these countries want to come, when these immigrants want to come here. I mean, look at South America. We fucked up. What is it? Bolsonaro. Where is he the president of? I can't think of the name of the country right now. But Bolsonaro, we've been supporting him for years, and he's Trumpian, you know, because that was his boy. And even so much so to the point where when he came to this conference they're holding in New York right now, and he's been bragging about how he's never going to get vaccinated, and New York has, you know, this extreme vaccine mandate. One of his people came in and they tested positive. Now they're trying to kick the whole delegation out.
They all got it.
Because if one of y'all got it, they all got it. Because you already said you ain't never getting vaccinated. But that's the thing. We make these problems. We go into other countries and start fucking with their shit. Same thing with Haiti. America, the UK, all of these former slave trading countries have never forgiven Haiti because they got free. That's the problem. How the hell do you make a country pay reparations because they freed themselves from your slavery?
Dude, that's exactly what I was about to say earlier, man. And I talked to you about that before. That's crazy.
How do you make a country pay reparations because they got free
that's
from you holding them in slavery?
That's literally like saying,
that's my land that I brought you to. That's not your land. I brought you to this land. If you're gonna want it, then pay me for it. See ya.
That's how they thinking, right?
That's how they think.
This is my land. You're African. You're not from here. I stole this land. It's mine. So if you want to stay here, you gotta
That's how
pay
they
me.
thinking. They gotta be how they think.
It has to be. I mean, it only makes sense. This is my shit.
It's just sad.
You know, you can just
It's
have
still
it.
crazy,
You're
though.
gonna pay me for it
It's
though.
still crazy because you still put those people in bondage and they fought for their freedom and won. And now they gotta pay for winning their freedom back.
Then don't pay and keep fighting.
And
keep
because they have to pay, they're extremely poor.
But then you want to blame them for being poor.
Exactly.
Their
It's
government makes
ridiculous,
them poor.
man.
They're not that poor. Their government makes them poor.
But their
Excuse
government,
me.
but their government is
They take
corrupt
that's what I'm
because
saying.
of
They
the
take
United
everything.
States and countries like the U.S. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's no fault in Haiti.
Right.
But the reason that they can do the things that they do in Haiti is because of support they get from outside. You think, okay, and I'm sure you heard about the assassination of the Haitian president.
Right.
Why was the dudes who assassinated him, why when they went in, they were screaming, what was it, CIA, DEA?
DEA, yeah.
Why would they scream DEA? Why?
Trying to blame it on us and shit.
But you think we didn't have a hand in that some form of
But
fashion?
we're not going to go to, if I'm really DEA in a foreign
Yeah.
country,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
not
not-
screaming DEA.
I'm not saying that they were DEA.
I'm not screaming that.
I'm not saying that they were
You
DEA.
know, I don't want you to know
But
that
my
I'm
point
American up in
is
this. in
you
here.
don't think we had a hand in that in some
Oh, I'm
form
sure,
of fashion?
Sure we did.
Oh, yes.
We got
Just
a hand
like
in
we've
a
done
lot.
in so many other countries. We go in and topple stable governments.
Yeah.
We go in and topple stable. Afghanistan was stable before we fucked with it.
That don't mean you got to come to me if you don't want to be there.
But we caused the problem.
Still.
But we caused the
If
problem.
You go somewhere else. You don't have to come here. If I'm telling you, if you come here, I'm gonna send you back. Why would you come here? Don't come here.
But the
You
point
know?
is they should be letting them.
Oh, I understand.
And don't get me
I
wrong.
understand.
I'm not saying just let them in willy nilly. Not letting just everybody in, because granted, some of them could be terrorists. I'm totally on board with vetting some people, you know. But for the ones who were there working for us, were the ones who were there translating, doing jobs that had actually to do with the U.S. government and our occupation of that country, those people should have a definite precedent in far as being able to come in. They should be able to take top spots
Well,
and being able to come in.
in
But now
Indiana,
anybody else,
that's who those are.
but anybody else, okay, we're gonna have to check you out a little bit, see who you are, find out where you come from, who your people is, you know, and then see if we're gonna let you in. But for the Haitians, man, come on. Ain't no terrorists coming out of Haitians.
Hey, Jonathan, Afghanistan wasn't stable. Afghanistan was not stable.
We've been there for so long,
Afghanistan had just got through dealing with Russia.
right?
After
For
we
20
helped-
years.
After we helped Afghanistan get away from Russia, you know, help them win that war or whatever. Then you had the Taliban in power, who was indicted on all kind of human rights issues. We went to Afghanistan because them motherfuckers brought them planes into our buildings.
True, right? But who put the Taliban in power?
We had to.
No, we didn't. They had a democratically elected government. They had equality between they had equality. There's pictures from the 1960s and the 70s showing women driving cars in Afghanistan, showing women walking around uncovered and doing their thing. They were fine until outside influences came in and started fucking with them.
Russia started that.
Proxy wars. That's what we do all the time. Russia shows interest in the country. We start showing interest in the country. And between the two of us, we're going to destabilize them.
We had to stop communism.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We don't have to stop shit. We can let people do their own thing. America needs to learn how to leave people alone. Because communism in another country doesn't hurt us. Not really. Because communism so far hasn't worked.
Yeah, but we weren't trying to like wait that out. You know, communism failed in large part because of a lot of policies we put in place. We bankrupted them basically.
I don't know.
So it's not that communism failed because
communism as a concept in its purest form, I'm actually okay with existing in the world. I'm not saying I want to be a communist. I'm not a communist. But if a country as a whole decides that that's what works for them and they find a way to make that system work, I'm okay with that. Same with socialism. I consider myself to be a socialist, or a democratic socialist, as a matter of fact. But socialism in and of itself is not bad or evil. It's just a different way of doing things. We've been fed the thought that capitalism is the best way. When all of y'all can attest to this, when we were growing up, communism bad, socialism bad, and they really use the terms interchangeably when they mean different things.
Back then, they had to do that because there was a chance that we could have went to war and blew up this world. So we had to make sure that we were not going to be on their side. They were bad.
You move socialism.
I mean,
you
I
could
lived
kind
that.
of consider yourself socialist too.
Somewhat, only to a point where, like I said, I believe in taking care of your people before you do anything else.
That's why I stress the fact of a democratic socialist.
Yeah.
The people should run the country because we're the majority.
I agree.
We're the majority. But right now, we don't have majority rule in this country. We don't.
Right.
That's not what we have. If we really had a democracy, it would automatically be socialist, because automatically you would have to take care of your people. Think about it. Why are we the only major country in the world that doesn't have across the board single payer health care?
Money.
Because there's too much money to be made in private insurance. There's too much money to be made in the private health insurance and the private health industry. And those people put too much money in behind the politicians. They're never going to bite the hand that feeds them. They're never going to do that.
I do agree.
But if you had it going the right way, that would be considered "quote unquote" socialism. But the minute you say something like that, people want to label you a socialist and say, "Oh, you're bad." No, I'm not. I'm just talking logic.
Yeah, but we've been taught that that's bad.
Right. But everything we've been taught ain't what's correct.
So check it out. Danny Brown says World War II reminded our business. They don't want to do those types of policies because if the U.S. has their hands in everything with everyone, they can own you per se and control you.
True.
And then Jessica Cronin says, what if someone said that about you? They are very intelligent and educated Afghani people.
You have to go up some to understand what that was.
Okay.
So
let's see.
Why don't you guys give us a call in, and that way we can hear what you're saying. Give us a call. It's 281-858-3107.
Kristen kind of chimed in to agree with you when she said, "Oh my God, no, they weren't." Speaking of the Afghans, she said they were a fucking mess.
I don't profess to be an expert on Afghanistan, so I may be wrong. But from what I understood, there was some stability. I'm not saying they were U.S. level, but we definitely had a hand into how the Taliban took over in that country.
Absolutely. We had a hand in Bin Laden. We have no doubts admitting to any of that. But we went to Afghanistan under very specific circumstances. And we had to go there. That's
Right.
no questions asked. Period.
You brought down these buildings in my
I don't
country.
agree with that.
Oh
I
hell
have to
no!
get
Why we
you-
can't go to Afghanistan? And that's what Bin Laden did.
We can go to Afghanistan to get Bin Laden, but why were we there after we got him?
Okay.
Because people were still. You had the Taliban in power. We had to keep them at bay because the motherfuckers was attacking us.
But we just got out and the Taliban took right back over. So why did we leave?
Them people don't
I don't know
want
why we
us
left.
there.
To be honest with you,
They would
But we-
evidently
but
they
we're
don't want
not
us
an
there
occupying
because if
nation.
they did,
But-
they would help more in getting rid of that Taliban.
we're not an
We're not
occupying.
what?
But
We're
they
not.
don't-
An
we're not
occupying-
what?
We're not an occupying nation.
We're not.
No.
Really?
Yeah. What country have we occupied?
We have United States military bases in almost every country in the world.
I said
We're
occupying.
not a occupying country.
We're not an occupying. Country.
We are the police force of the world.
But are we an occupying?
That is what we do as a living as a country.
Yeah, but we're back in terms of foreign policy. We're
Okay.
backing
Let's
away from
do
that.
this. Let's do this.
But-
So how do you define
Anywhere
occupying?
America has ever conquered on the planet, we have never occupied that nation. Now, we may have put in a puppet government, but we did not occupy that nation.
But what's the difference between a puppet government and us occupying it? If it's a puppet government, we're
Because-
controlling that
because-
government.
Because
The nature of a puppet is it's being controlled by the strings.
yeah,
So if we're pulling the strings, we're occupying them.
yeah, but they're more of a proxy. That means you almost think about it this way, Jonathan.
Okay.
Everything is going to be connected when it comes to money, one way or another.
Mhm.
Now, whenever we go into a country and we deal with that country, the government that we put in, like for example, the guy that was over Afghan government, he worked for the CIA. He came from us. That's what we do.
Okay.
Now, it is in our best interest to make sure we put a government in place that's going to be as stable as possible, so that we don't have to worry about some kind of threats to our national security.
But why is
We're not going
Keep
to
having
put.
police them all
We're
the
not.
time.
And as a matter of fact, when we was in Afghanistan, when we left just now, they had over 300 and some odd trained damn military personnel. When the shit went down, the military had to get out and say, you know what? They're less than 50,000 individuals that's ready to resist these motherfuckers. That's exactly what happened in Afghanistan. We trained people to defend their own countries.
And they won't.
When the shit went down, they changed on us.
Right.
But when we train,
That's why we put in the
Let's
kind
go.
of government
But here-
that we do.
but here's the
It's time
thing:
to go.
So-
we train people who didn't want us there in the first place.
They ain't want the Russians there either. But it don't matter what
But
the fuck
that's-
they want.
but that's
Bin
irrelevant.
Laden was there.
Okay,
It took us.
but we got Bin Laden when Obama was in office. So why was we still there?
Okay.
Lithium, the lithium mines. That's why we're there.
Exactly.
The power of the
It's
Air.
money.
The
It's
opium
money.
mines.
We had no.
Absolutely.
There.
I can
We
understand.
get lithium.
I can
we let them sell
absolutely.
opium.
I can understand.
Absolutely.
We get lithium. They sell opium. And we
I can
let that slide.
understand. I can
That's why.
understand
Now
us
we're done
going
with
after
that.
Bin Laden.
Man,
It's
look,
time
I
to
can
go.
understand
we
us
have to
going
make
after
sure
Bin
we
Laden.
good.
It's time to go.
I can understand us going after Bin Laden, and I'm not saying that
Yeah.
we shouldn't have. He was responsible for 9/11. Get him. Fucking put a bullet in his head. Fine with that. But once we got
I don't
him,
believe
the
that right
very
there.
first thing we
Yeah,
should have
right.
done,
if we believe.
right? If you believe that he was
Right,
dead,
right.
but the first thing we should have done after we got him is got the hell out of there. There was no reason for us to be there. What year was he killed? What year? Was
08?
he? 08?
No, let's see. 1, 4, 8, like 10 actually. No, about 8. He was killed in 8. So
In
that was
8.
Nebraska.
Okay,
Actually,
so and it's
Nebraska.
2021,
7 to 8.
and we just now leaving.
Yeah, but you don't just wake up and say, all right, y'all, we're going to be out. I mean,
But if-
instantly.
So
Okay,
the,
go ahead.
The crux of this argument is you're saying we're not an occupying nation.
we're not an
You're
occupying
saying
nation. No.
That we are.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Define, both of you guys, define what occupying nation means to you.
When traditionally, like in war, whenever a country would beat another country, they would occupy that country, say, okay, this is the province of, well, shit, look at the UK, period.
Okay.
Now, each country is their own separate country, but
it
they
belongs
all
to
fall
Rome.
under Great Britain.
Right.
And you're saying because these other countries who we have puppet governments and we have people in place, they don't fall under the United
No,
States.
they do not.
So to you, that means that
We're
we're
not
not
absolutely.
occupying them.
Absolutely.
Okay, now you explain
Absolutely.
your part.
An occupying government, by my definition, is when we control what's going on in another country.
Period.
So, period. So whether that's through a puppet government, whether that's through proxies, whether that's through direct military exertion, either way, we're still occupying the government because the bottom line is going to be is that we have the say of what's going on in that country's government.
regardless of whether that country falls under the United States or not.
Dude, all you have to do is look at countries like, what is it, Singapore, look at the Virgin Islands, look at places where we're still, even Puerto Rico, where we're still occupying, but where we're still occupying those countries without giving those people full rights. We literally broke down the royalty of Hawaii in order to take it over.
Yeah, but now they're part of us now.
But they don't even want to be.
Yes, they did. It took 60 years.
The native people of Hawaii don't want us there. They still don't want to be a state.
Well,
and I mean, if you really want to break it down to it, the people who are of that country should have, of that land, I should say, should have a say into what their government is. If you don't want to be a part of the United States, if enough of y'all don't want to be a part of the United States, you shouldn't be.
So, I mean, to be honest with you, I see both of you guys' points. You know, from the definition.
I ain't tripping.
From the definition.
I like
aspects,
Yeah.
You know,
I like
I
Christine's
understand.
comment. I
Yeah.
like Christine's comment. She said we should have been in and out in 6 months, but they have decided to nation build. And
Yeah.
that's my point.
Yeah.
We decided to nation build.
Yeah.
We had no business. We had no business.
It
wasn't
something
our
of
nation to
interest
build.
in Afghanistan.
Man,
It's something that mattered there. That's why we stayed. That's the only reason.
That's just like when we went to Baghdad. Not Baghdad. We went to Baghdad. We got Iraq stable for a minute under a puppet government, trained them, be your own counsel, all that kind of stuff. Soon as we left, immediately overnight, you started seeing infighting between different militias starting to converge in. That's when you started seeing ISIS moving in and taking over Iraq.
So let me ask you a question. So is your point that if we had been an occupying nation according to your definition and did that in that territory,
Yeah.
that wouldn't have happened?
Oh, hell no.
We're gonna
That's
stop.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
What I'm saying,
stop
that's-
that out.
Hell no. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we gotta stop that out too.
They
Now
have
we- now
they
we're
have
here.
way
We're-
more.
but my
than
point
this.
is-
way more.
Is those are the people of that country. Those are the people of that land. We pride ourselves as Americans on being able of our freedoms and being able to choose our own government and choose our own democracy and make these choices. Why do we get a say in what other countries get to do in their own land? That's none of our business.
Okay.
If it starts to affect us, then we can react. Even if you want to say, okay, militarily, through espionage and these other things, we might find out some stuff is going to happen before it happens, and we might take actions to prevent that. Those things I understand. We want to stop things before they happen if it's going to affect us. But at the same time, why are we going in and destabilizing governments? Why are we going in and breaking down what the people of a nation want when they are already happy with what's going on? And whether or not they're happy with it, again, it's not our business. Because if enough of your people, if you burn enough of your people, if you kill enough of your people, or you starve enough of your people, they're going to revolt and they'll put a new government in. Again, it's not our business, not our place to do.
I think we do it because we're paranoid, and America learns her lessons very well. When we left a lot of those countries alone in the Central America, they started naturally gravitating. I shouldn't say naturally. They started gravitating towards a more communist, ideology. We can't have that right beneath us.
Right.
We can't have that.
Right.
And during the Cold War, we can't have that.
And besides,
and we're wrong.
right.
We are going to make sure that our borders are not threatened.
Right.
We're going to make sure
We can't
that
get too close.
if you just get stomped in the fucking way because we're coming and we're Rome and we can do that, and no one is messing with us.
Right.
Yeah, it causes some instability within that group, that island, that piece of land, whatever you want to call it. But we have to do that to make sure that we're protected.
Right.
That's what it is. And in this world, either you live or you die when it comes to geo-economical politics and military fucking decisions. They don't have time to deal with touchy-feely shit.
That's why we have Hawaii.
We have
and Alaska.
350 million Americans we have to protect.
Right.
And our sympathy, if met by someone else, is not going to deter nor encourage any more what they already got their minds made up to do. against us.
But do they protect us?
We saw that. That's why when 9/11 hit, and that shit was a shock to our nervous system, we didn't know that terror was so next door. That's what got us. It wasn't that they took the towers down. It was like the shit was next door, and it was here for 10 years. And they had all these American freedoms live better than anybody and everybody probably watching this podcast. And they were not swayed. And we gave them the best they had to offer. We have to go into damn turbo mode to deal with the bullshit now. Because they're among us now. We don't have time for touchy-feely shit when it comes to national security.
But it's not national
But
security.
they hit us on our land.
True. But again, those are people we
We
train.
are
But those
paranoid
are
now.
people we train, that we provided with guns and money and weapons and everything
Problem,
else.
Jonathan.
Those are problems we created
I got no problem with that, Jonathan.
because we went and put our noses in other folks' business.
Jonathan, I got no
If we
problem
had
with that.
stayed in our own lane, Bin Laden wouldn't exist. Bin Laden would not have been able to get planes over here and to blow up our building. Don't get me wrong, the end result was horrible. I'm not saying that, but the problem is that we created it. By the things that we do in other countries, we create these problems. That's my point. If we would mind our own business and leave other countries alone and let people run their countries the way they want to run their countries, they wouldn't look at us as targets. How many in the Gaza Strip right now hate America? And we're breeding a whole nother generation of terrorists because of the things that we're doing to help Israel.
I agree.
Oh, man,
I agree.
I can't talk about that.
I agree.
So we
But it's
create
real.
we
I
create
talk about
these
it.
problems.
I can't talk
We
about
create
Israel
these problems.
and that.
And I mean,
I got no
don't get me
problem
wrong, and it's not an and I hope nobody takes my comment about Israel as anti-Jew. I'm not anti-Jew. It is just a simple fact of you have a country who is doing something illegal to another set of people. That's all it is. We all know that, the occupation in Gaza is illegal. Israel knows the occupation in Gaza is illegal.
No, they don't.
They do.
That's a growing movement.
This is my stuff.
They-
This is our stuff.
They
This
do.
is us.
You even got American Jews who are looking at Israel now like, what the hell are y'all doing? Jews from outside of Israel are going, man, please stop. Y'all making the rest of us look bad.
But what you both are saying is right. I
Yeah,
agree
that's
with
what I'm
both of you.
saying.
I agree with both of you.
They
Yes, I
both-
understand. I understand that we messed up. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing that. But like you said,
I'm just putting you into
I
the
gotta make
head.
sure. Yeah, I
Like
gotta make
he
sure.
understands
Right.
what they're doing. I'm all about it.
Right.
I'm saying if you're going to curb that behavior, you have to understand how they're thinking.
Oh,
Right.
And that shit does not matter because I mean this with all my heart. We are the new Rome.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
we are not.
Oh, yes.
We are not under any said circumstances going to experience any instability
Right.
like the shit we see around this planet.
Right.
And in order to do that, you got to run a tight ship. Welcome to America.
Right. But we can go till the 2 years.
You know what I'm saying? I understand all that. I'm here. Should
You're not
have
welcome.
But you're not really welcome.
Should have came on the ship. That's how I got here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It took 400 years of blood, sweat, and tears for me to earn my spot.
Hey,
Nigga, what you do?
Where your stripes? I see mine. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, I don't care, man.
But yeah, you both make a good point because I believe the same thing. But yeah, you got to be hard. Sometimes like you said, I can't let
Hey,
no
man, we
stupid
number
shit
one.
too close because
And
too close.
And again,
One,
I'm not, and
There's certain
again,
places
I don't
we have to go to and try to help them out. But for me, like in Afghanistan, it's like, okay, we've been there all this time, and now we're leaving, and the Taliban's taking over again. They were always there. You didn't want to get rid of them yourself, so why should I keep killing my boys? Y'all don't even want us here. I'm out. Let's go.
We finally left.
And what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that every time we go somewhere like that, we do not bring our shit back. We leave it there. So don't blame Biden. Oh, he leaving all that.
Yeah.
Trump did
Very
it.
true.
Bush did it. Everybody
Obama
that's
did it,
sent
yeah.
it. We don't bring that shit back. It's been paid for. That's how the ISIS built their little army because
But
all that shit we
that
left.
kind of falls into exactly what your point was
You know,
about
we
being
leave
an
that there.
occupying country.
Yeah. We create these problems. We go around the world, we mess with other countries, and we create these problems.
Yeah.
Then we breed a generation of people who hate us, and then we're surprised when somebody attacks us. You know, but we've been doing.
How do we create the
Somebody
problem?
got to
You know,
do it.
No,
you
but
know,
how do we
it might
create?
as well be
How do we
us.
create the
what
problem?
this, you know what
Somebody
this
got to
is?
do it.
You know what this is?
Shit.
You're speaking from how they're thinking.
Yes.
Right? It's
Right.
red pill and blue pill.
Right.
That's what this
Hey,
conversation
And don't get me wrong,
Hey, I get it.
but here's the thing: you say somebody's got to do it.
Somebody got to do it, John.
No, nobody really has to.
Yeah,
There's no law that says somebody has to go
No,
and
Jonathan.
stop another country from developing the way that country
No,
chooses to
Jonathan,
develop.
history is filled with winners and losers.
Yes.
That's all it's about,
And
bro.
most of
And
the
just because
countries
it's
are
historical,
already
we
in
have-
turmoil.
Ain't no country trying
They're
to.
already in
Ain't
turmoil.
no
But
country.
is it just?
Now remember, he's not advocating this. What he's saying.
Oh, I
is
get that.
how
I'm
they're thinking.
I'm
Right?
telling you how
No,
they
I do understand.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you how
Right,
they
he's
think.
devil's advocating me, but
Right.
and I love him for that.
Yeah.
But my point is still this: is that there is no just because something has historically happened, does that mean we have to keep repeating it?
Right.
How the hell you think we got to where we at?
You know what I'm saying?
Who you think?
We got to where we are
America-
through innovation.
Plus, you know what?
Oh hell no!
We
We
got
got-
what?
No,
No, but you know
slavery
what?
number one.
No,
we
but-
learned very well from the Romans.
But you know why we do what we do and why we have to do that? And like you said, because we got to watch out, because we know the fucked up shit we've done, and we're not going to let you do that to us.
Hey
So
man,
I'm making sure
hey
that
man, look,
I know,
look,
I
man,
know
when
death
you-
and
when
destruction.
you read
That's
history,
all I
when
know.
you read history, you say
I'm not going to let
King
you
Louis
get
VIII killed
Man.
Ferdinand VII and conquered Turkey or whatever
Right,
the hell.
right.
You know what I mean? Man, history is
know-
all
they know how
about
bad
who winning
they
these
did.
wars,
right.
who keeping the
They ain't
peace,
stupid.
who got the money moving. That's what it's
Man,
all
I'm
about.
stupid.
America is on a 400-year winning streak.
Christian say, yet and still,
here
who
to
does
tell you.
everybody come crying to when they need help?
We sons, man. It's
Because
America,
we're
player.
still the
It's
most
America.
powerful
It's
country in the
America.
world.
It's America.
Again, I'm gonna restate.
It's
We
America.
got a military base in just about every country in
That's
the world.
right. We got to
You
make
think
sure don't
you think if
nobody
something
get out
jump
alive.
off, we not gonna be the ones that they come to?
But
Why?
you know, like I
Ain't
said,
gonna be no threats to nobody because ain't gonna be no threats to us. You know what I'm saying?
I was saying,
We're gonna make sure of that. We're gonna make sure of that.
Well, like I was saying about the Haitians, I was saying, well, you know what? A lot of people might think, well, why would they want to come here anyway? You don't like black people. It's worse in my country, and it's black people doing it to me.
Black
At least
people doing it to
here,
black people.
at least here, I can get a little job, make a little money, eat. I can't do that shit back home. So I know y'all don't like black people, but I
Yeah, you
still
know,
rather be
You
here.
start talking that black on black crime.
Yeah,
Let's point the haters.
Like, you know?
It's like, what now? What are we talking about?
That's the new Compton.
Compton by the coast.
You know? no, that's French Compton.
Yeah, man. Somebody got to keep the peace, man. We the Romans. Hey, somebody
We
got to
may
keep
not
the
like
peace.
it, we may not agree with it, but that's
Somebody
just
got to do
point
it.
blank.
Somebody got to
That's
make the hard
exactly what
decisions.
it is.
This country
You know,
could be
gotta make the hard
this
decisions.
country could be so much better, man. Don't get me wrong. America has the potential to be better. It's just we're not living up to it. We could make change in the world. We could do things differently. We change in the world, but not for the
But not
better.
for the better.
That's the problem.
We are changing the world.
But we could change the world for the better. It's just we're letting greed, we're letting old school thinking, like you said, those repeating historical patterns. We're letting all that stuff dominate us, and really, that's really what it is. That's the root of a lot of it.
Exactly.
You know,
And you're not getting rid of
Hey,
greed.
I got the
Never
money.
going away. I got
You know,
the
I
money
got the
and the
money.
power.
So what's up?
And then what do I get then?
I got the money and the land. How we finna do this, y'all?
What you want to do?
You know what I'm saying? I can't really blame white supremacists for being white supremacists.
Yeah.
I really can't. I really can't blame them,
Make
man.
it right.
Like you got the
'Cause who's
money
gonna
and
concede
everything.
power?
You know
Who's
what I
gonna
mean?
concede power?
Hey, you Pharaoh today. You got it. Today
Right.
you Pharaoh. It's your time. You
I've
Pharaoh.
actually seen something like other countries, like if you was if they were to try to invade America or take over America, not going to happen.
oh no,
Not within not even
Guns.
not even
Everybody get guns. You know why? You know why? Because we were only one of few nations on the entire planet where your population is a standing army.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So even as messed up as things would have to be, follow me clearly, where you've gotten through our military, Coast Guard, and now you have to deal with a society of people that are armed to be fucking
ready for you. And we know
the question is, how bad do you want this land?
Some parts of that land, they live that every
Day.
But
Every
think about
day.
it though. They got
Every
our
day.
military and our Coast Guard for fucked.
Hey
We ain't
man.
gonna hold them back.
Hey man.
Because
Hey,
by
but
then,
they
no,
not
you know
gonna
why?
have no-
Hey, man,
But you know
Ain't
why?
gonna be no picnic.
No, but
Hey,
you know why?
yeah,
Because
they
by-
gonna be-
by
they
the
gonna be
time
fighting
they
block
get
by
to our
block.
Coast Guard,
Real.
most of us have already gone to help the fight.
Hey,
So there's gonna be nobody left.
Hey,
when
man.
if they get that far, we're done.
hey man, I'm here
You
to
know?
tell you. The shit we got, by the time you get through all of that, you probably from a different planet. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
If you got enough to still be messing with us, but then you're dealing with armed citizens. So now you don't have to, you have two things in place. You have people that are going to rethink invasion, number one, because you know the history of the world is invasion, invasion, invasion. We can say we ain't been invaded since 1812. But then you got an armed resistance against the government. So now your government is always going to be in check to some degree because of your behavior and the fact that you're armed.
Right.
That's right. Welcome to Rome. Welcome to Rome.
Caesar.
Welcome to Rome. See, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we may be barbarians, but you know what? It's our rules. That's right. Because it's gonna be somebody's rules, so it might as well be
But
ours.
you can't never
But it ain't
forget.
ours.
You can't never forget that.
Well, I benefit
Rome
from it.
fell off.
Yeah.
All them great powers. All
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We probably
We
have
trying to
we
get
have
out
a
this
we have a
motherfucker.
better
You know what
we
I'm saying?
probably
That's the one thing that I was see. That's the one thing that you're not gonna see. You're not gonna see people from the United States killing themselves to get away from this.
Got that right. Okay, how you call
No
it?
matter how bad it is,
Whatever.
no matter how many times black people get killed by cops, Hispanic people getting sent back to Mexico,
Here.
and all of this, and
America.
nobody killing themselves
We
and,
right here.
and falling off of airplanes and
Okay.
shit to
Okay.
get to get out of
Okay.
this. That's
Okay.
true.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay. They was on American airplanes falling out
Right.
the sky, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's true, man.
All right. They didn't do that to Russia
It's
when
fucked
Russia
up
got
as
kicked
it
out.
is. It's fucked up.
They
as
wasn't on
it
no
is,
damn
man.
Russian airplanes.
And it is fucked up for us over here.
You see what Amy said?
But
Yeah,
I
it's
was
bad, but
fucked
it's
up.
home, but it's
I was
home.
fucked up is a whole lot different from other.
Got
But you
that
know,
right.
you know what's funny though, man? You remember that conversation we had with Chris the other day when he was telling us about how, because you know how we perceive
Oh, Africa and
what's
all
going
that.
on in
Yeah,
Africa. You know,
yeah.
we think in Africa it's really bad. You know,
Yeah.
like really bad.
Yeah.
He said when he was over there, he felt safer
Mhm.
here in
Yeah.
the streets.
Where he was at.
No, he felt safer in the streets of Africa
Yeah.
as a black man walking around unarmed than he does in the American streets walking around unarmed. That says a lot. You know what I'm
I can
saying?
believe it.
That says a
I can
lot.
believe it.
Even
He
though
does.
what you see the media portray over there,
Because
They have to.
we
That's
only
propaganda.
see what the media portrays.
Exactly.
They have to.
We don't get to see the
Exactly.
day-to-day life of most people.
Exactly.
We get shown the worst.
Exactly.
Ain't
So-
nobody better than us.
But
we can't.
it ain't like
we
they
can't show
operate
you
in
that.
a vacuum. They show the worst of black people around the world
Everywhere.
in cinema
But that-
every
every
damn
day.
day.
But that's my point.
And they
And
operate
it's some
off
of
that
the
shit.
biggest movies.
You know what I'm saying?
in the
And
world.
we have to deal with that shit
Right.
when we come into contact
Right.
with you. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Shit,
How many
both
of us
ways.
don't feel safe around our own people?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You
I
know,
got
just like I
reasons.
know.
I
There's,
got reasons.
you know, there's certain parts of town when you go in, you're gonna be like, oh, these niggas over here crazy.
Oh
I got reasons.
yeah.
I got
Trust
reasons.
me.
I'm gonna be real. I got reasons.
I pack my gun with me everywhere I go every day. I don't want to shoot nobody.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't.
we know.
I
We know.
don't. You know
Just
what
in
I'm
case.
saying?
We know you don't want to shoot nobody,
Exactly.
but you will.
But I
Just in
will.
case.
But I will.
When the two Negro come out and the two, I have no problem.
I mean, if it came down to protecting myself and protecting my loved ones, of course, obviously. But at the same time, I've never owned a gun in my life.
Absolutely, me neither.
And I commend you for that.
I've never owned one.
I could
Even back in the day when we was running the streets bad,
I know.
never
I know.
had one.
I know, and I've always had one.
I have two in the shop. One when you take.
You see what Mary say?
I personally, the
She
reason
knows somebody that.
There was a lady on Gay King, or is it
Gayle King.
Gayle King, yeah, show saying that she left the U.S. to go to Ghana because she didn't feel safe in the U.S. Oh, most
understand.
definitely.
Absolutely.
But she wasn't killing herself to get there.
Right.
See, it's a difference. You know what I'm
She
saying?
wasn't jumping on
She
the
had
edge,
a choice.
hanging
Trying
off
to
a
go from
wing.
good
She
to
had
better.
She
you know?
exactly.
Good for
She's
you.
trying to go from
Good for
this
you.
to better.
Good for you.
But
She's more going. She's going to be safe, to feel safe.
and
Yeah,
here's,
She may not go.
different, too.
She's not going to better. She's going to be
And she's
safe.
different.
here's what I say
So
about
it's,
that.
She's a minority.
Here's the thing I'll say
True.
about that. If
But, hey,
things
right.
keep going,
Right.
if things keep
Right.
going the way that they're going in the U.S. without improvements, you might see that in the future. I don't rule out the possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not
What's
saying
that?
it's going to happen. People killing themselves trying to get the fuck up out of here, because you got to realize, in a lot of ways, we're starting to look like a third world country.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I
agree.
Economically, we might still be dominant, but that's only for the
Ain't
top.
nobody going to kill
That's
themselves. They're
only
going
for
to be
the
like,
top.
go,
Yeah, but
get the fuck on.
No, they
No,
won't.
no,
No, they
no,
won't.
no, be
Because
here,
they
no.
need us here. Because
Yeah.
they need us here to work. Without us, this country's gonna. Without the working people, this country will fall apart.
Yeah,
I don't ever see America being in a dire situation where people would be falling off of planes to get out of here
I gotta agree.
unless some natural catastrophe happened, something like that.
Yeah, so
Let me say this.
trying to get the hell out.
I agree with you, but I also agree with him because I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm seeing everything that's going on right now
Right.
in the United States in terms of laws, in terms of this pandemic, shit that they're mandating, all of these type of things, right? These things that they're doing right now, they literally go completely against your constitutional rights,
Okay.
right? If they're violating your constitutional rights right now,
Mhm.
and it's getting worse and worse and worse,
Mhm.
it's continuing to get worse.
Mhm.
I understand where his thinking is going,
Mhm.
and I can see what he's talking about if that continues in that direction, which I don't see it not continuing in that direction without something huge happening, like a revolt, like a revolution or something like that. But it's gonna take a long time.
I still don't
to
see
get
us
to
killing
that.
ourselves
Can
to
I
leave.
add something
They'll
to
let us
that?
go.
But hold on, can I add
Because
something to that?
if I have to kill myself to leave, that means America's going back to fucking slavery. I
But-
can't
but,
leave.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
If
no,
you look at
I want
at
out.
the way they're doing things, that's where it's heading.
It's getting back to that. That's my point. But you couple that with everything you're seeing, everything you just mentioned, and then you couple that with climate change. You couple that with the wildfires we've been seeing across the country. You couple that with the hurricanes that we keep seeing coming through. You couple that with sea levels rising once the coastal areas become uninhabitable because the sea levels have come in. You're going to get people pushed into the interior of the country, less space, more people. You're going to create it. You could potentially, I won't say it's definite, but you could potentially create a bad situation to the point where people are struggling to get out of here.
So I got a question to ask.
That's
Okay.
science.
I got it.
But the rest of the
No,
world's
no,
going to
no,
be
no,
jacked
no,
up
listen,
too.
Listen,
The rest of the
like,
world's going to be
At
underwater
the,
too,
at the
though.
same time, I mean,
It's happening now.
You can
like-
go.
We got wildfires on one side of the country, 3 or 4 hurricanes hitting another side of the country
But
at the same time.
but
New York subways was just flooded.
But to get to a point where you're evacuating an ever-growing population of 320 million Americans, do you understand like how bad everything would be for that many individuals, which would be a much higher number? Because you're talking damn near hundreds, if not 1,000 something years from now, for those kind of conditions happening. If you're talking about global war, like in terms of like the ever incoming coastline, Jonathan, that's not going to happen no time soon.
Oh, you don't think so?
Jonathan, do you understand? Like, for that to get to a point where we may lose New Orleans, but that shit ain't gonna be up in no Kansas no time soon.
But what happens to the people in New Orleans?
California ain't gonna.
What
drop
happens to
off
the
for a
people in
minute.
New Orleans once New Orleans is gone?
Do it now?
What happens to the people in New Orleans once New Orleans is underwater?
Oh, they already take care of it. Ain't hardly nobody from New Orleans.
have
In New Orleans, they all live everywhere else.
But by the time it hits New Orleans,
don't drown.
but by the time it
on
hits New
Shreveport.
Orleans, it's going to cover Galveston. It's also going to cover most of Florida. It's also going to cover most of the East Coast. So you're going to have all of these things happening at one time.
But we got a lot of land, man. We ain't tripping.
But that's my thing.
We got a lot- we got a
But
lot
it's
of
gonna
land.
happen all over
Nice,
the world.
nice to say the pandemic has already changed the entire world in ways no one has ever thought
Yes,
possible.
yes,
And that shit just happened
right.
like
Within the last 2 years.
within the last 2 years.
I feel that. I ain't tripping. I feel that.
But that's what I'm saying. These changes, we think they're far off, but they're not that far off. Even the UN has said that these changes that we've made to the environment have reached a point where people are talking about, oh, we got to, be carbon neutral by 2030 and 2050 and all of this. They're even saying that those estimates are out the window now. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from people who might actually know.
But I thought they said like cow farts was the problem with the ozone and all of that. They said cow flatulence. It's for real. They were saying that was the problem with that was the serious problem.
So what's the difference between cow flatulence and human flatulence?
I don't know, but they say
They
it's
say
cows.
both methane and
It's
they
the
say-
amounts.
It's the amount.
Right,
It's
and
the
they-
amounts.
and
but
they say
it's more people exponentially than it is cows.
But they put out way more than we do. If your fart counts for an ounce of methane, imagine a cow's fart counting for about 15 pounds of methane.
Elephants and all that. they don't
If
touch
I can try to paint a picture for it in there,
Right.
and that's just one factor. We're still not willing to get away from carbon. The
Carbon emissions.
carbon emissions. We're still not willing to get away from fossil fuels because the money won't let us get away from it.
Right.
We already know that there's viable options. Jobs? What the fuck jobs got to do with
Oil
it?
industry, man. We can't just like change it.
Because the minute we change the industry, the only thing that's going to happen is the richness is going to shift from the oil magnates to whoever's running the solar power panel factory.
Yeah, man.
That's just a shift in money,
But
but the jobs are still going to be there.
the skilled, no, because that's a different level of skilled labor.
Yeah.
But
You have to
because
more
you're
educated
because
people.
if the government would do what they need to do and train the people.
Why don't your government got to do? Y'all keep putting so much emphasis and responsibility on the government.
But that's what
This
the
is
government
capitalism.
there for, though.
That's
No,
what-
the government is to make sure everything remains stable, not provide jobs.
Thank you for making my point.
Not
Then
to
why
provide
then why
jobs.
do we
That's
blame
not
then why do we
government.
blame presidents when the job numbers go down?
I'm so glad we finally have another person that understands the hypocrisy of this.
Right.
Government don't make jobs.
Right.
We get contractors and say, look, here's X amount of hundred millions of dollars or whatever. Spend that shit on whatever y'all need to do to hire people
But
to
it's-
do whatever need
Well,
to
let me
do.
ask you this.
Government don't create jobs.
But the laws that the government creates does on a large scale impact.
Yeah,
Those
because
jobs,
they was
right.
exploiting us, man.
Okay, so then at the same time,
So we regulated it. That's it. But that we don't create jobs in those areas
no, you don't create them, but you affect
Oh,
them.
yeah.
But
That's
the
because of our regulations to
Yes,
make sure
nice.
whatever business you have in free enterprise is done appropriately, relative to the mandates of your state municipality, whatever you're trying to have a business. That's government. Period.
but without government, right?
Yeah.
Without government, and whether we agree or disagree on
Yeah.
them bailing these big companies
Ain't-
out when it was time,
Ain't
right?
that-
Without the government bailing them out, those companies would have shut down, and those big companies that would have shut down would have greatly fucked up the
Economy.
the economy. You know what I'm saying? So when you really think about it, the government has a huge hand in what happens in business.
Did you see CNN today?
No, I didn't. Talk to me.
Today, Federal Reserve said we hands off
But yeah, okay.
because government they've been knowing we really have no place in here
Mhm.
because we're feeding the debt.
Mhm.
We're feeding the economic depression. even when they bailed out AIG, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay,
Right.
they knew they had no real.
Well, let's do this.
I promise I'm making a point. I promise.
Okay.
They spent so much money where they see where it's not affecting the market. They're like, you know what? We're done.
Yeah.
They're finally starting to take the position they should have taken a long time ago.
Yeah.
But because we couldn't have an unemployment rate that high, that's why they stepped in. But they prefer not to be there.
I mean, as far as the
Federal
Federal Reserve,
But that,
I mean,
that funds government. Government goes
Right.
to Federal Reserve, get the money, spends the shit.
but the Federal Reserve is not part of government.
No, not at all.
The Federal Reserve is not even part of the United States.
Not at all.
It has nothing to do with the
Not at all.
United States
But
other
who-
than currency.
But who else gonna go and get the money from them on our behalf?
Say that again.
Who else is gonna go to the Federal
But the
Reserve and get
government-
money on our behalf? The
government,
government,
right.
So the
Right.
government goes, gets money, and deals with whatever
Right.
we got going on, economically. That's it.
But the
But
government,
we shouldn't be doing that.
I don't see where we're disagreeing. I think we just
you come in at the argument from two different sides.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me.
You're not disagreeing, really.
Right.
The problem is that the U.S. government has created the situation where they've interfered with the economics for so long that now they can't get out of it, because if they take their foot out of that pot, the whole thing will collapse. So yes, government has no place in it, and they should not have had a place in it from the beginning. I agree with you.
In terms of job creation.
But they have done that in the past, and because they've done it, because they have created policies that either create or destroy jobs, they've put themselves in that position. So now that you're in it, you can't get out of it.
So Jonathan, you understand the reason why government makes a lot of decisions like they bailed out the banks was so that a large group of individuals could have jobs, right?
No, that's not why they did it. That's not why they did it.
Why?
They did it because those companies were quote unquote
Too big to
fail.
fail.
It's not about the jobs though. It's not about the jobs. It's about the money. It's about the money. The jobs they could care less about. If they could find a way to automate those jobs.
He's talking about bottom line.
If
I
they,
understand.
if they could find a way to automate those jobs and keep those companies afloat, they would have.
But not overnight.
But
We're
that's
not,
not-
we're not talking about
but
time frame.
that's why
But
they
we're not
can't
talking
let
about
them
time frame.
fail.
But that's why they did what they did.
Right.
That's why they
That's
did.
why they can't.
That's
let them
why they
fail.
did.
Right.
No,
But what he's saying,
But what you're doing,
because you understand the exact same things. I'm listening, but I'm on. But what he's saying is, at the baseline,
Sure.
their care is not about the jobs.
I understand that. I understand.
the jobs are a
that.
side effect. The jobs are a side effect.
But nobody's. Hold on. Wait.
Because
wait,
what
wait,
you're
wait,
doing,
wait a minute, wait a
what
minute,
you're
wait a
doing
minute,
when you bail these companies out is you're encouraging bad business behavior.
wait a minute.
When a company overspends itself and builds up too much debt, that company should fail by the laws of capitalism.
John,
By the rules of
Wait a
capitalism,
minute.
that company should fail.
What about the ones that we don't bail out that messed up on their own? They didn't care about all them
So-
jobs. They
Exactly.
let them fail.
So
Because those companies didn't pay enough politicians.
Yeah, that's a whole different story, though, man.
So-
Yeah, that'd be fun.
yeah, see,
That's a whole
That's
different
true.
story.
but that's how our economic system goes.
Right, exactly.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
If we were to be on a true economy, we need to reevaluate a whole lot of things,
Yes.
like the
Yes.
stock market, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
But because we're not on a true system, you automatically going to leave room for the situations we're dealing with.
Right.
And that's where government steps in and says, look, you can't do X, Y, and Z, period. Now, government may say, okay, we got 15,000, 20,000 people that need jobs. All right, let's go give a contract to Boeing so that way we encourage them to do a whole lot of hiring. Who else can we get contracts to? Where else can we spend
But why do
something?
they go to
They're
Boeing?
not building new departments
But
of
why do they go to
commerce
Boeing?
within government.
But why do they
Government
go to
doesn't
Boeing?
create jobs.
But why do they go to Boeing?
Why do they go to Boeing?
Why?
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 I don't know how they got the
Because we
contract. to
can't,
be
you
honest
know,
with
you know why? Because
Because
we can't let
But-
Boeing, GM, Ford, we cannot let them fail because
you
in
gotta-
time
you
of
gotta-
war, we need those factories ready to
And you
run.
got to also
Yeah.
remove.
Other than that,
Boeing.
they can go.
And y'all tell me if I'm wrong, because this is what I think the Jaws point is when about companies like Boeing.
Sure.
They went to Boeing specifically because not only because Boeing is a huge company, but it fuels other huge companies.
Absolutely.
American airlines,
Absolutely.
all of these other
Subsidiary companies like
exactly.
Halliburton, Brown and Root,
exactly.
I'm
all
saying
of
that.
that. So that's a lot of money.
It's not about the job.
And
It's
Yeah,
about
it's
the
about
money.
the
And if the
it's
shit
about the
goes
money.
down,
It's
I
about
need
money.
that
it's-
factory ready to make me
but
warplanes.
if
I
it's
can't
not
let
about-
them fail.
If it's not about the jobs, are you telling me
Got
that?
nothing to do
Well,
with
I got a better question. Had we gone differently and let them fail, how would the public have responded?
Say that one more time.
If we had let the too bigs to fail, how would the people have responded?
New industries would have opened up, and those new companies would have filled those spots and employed the same people.
Not overnight though.
No, not overnight.
It took a while.
Not overnight.
But
Well, it
before,
took a while, but it
but
would've
before
happened.
we got
But-
there, we would have been like,
But what you would have had
It'd be
is
like,
smarter.
what?
What you would have had
Good
is
stuff.
smarter leaders of the companies who would understand. I can't do what they just did because if I do, I'm going to fail.
yeah, but
And what we keep
until that
doing
becomes what we can do.
Is
we're
we
gonna be
keep
pissed
putting money
until
into the
that
pockets
time.
of
And that's
people
We're gonna
what
let-
to
alter
run
things.
companies into the ground
We're gonna
and get away with it.
too bigs to fail while they're occupying Wall Street movement going on.
You know?
They should.
That I don't blame them. I'd have bailed them out too. Shit, they're already showing
Don't get
the
me-
lack of faith.
Don't get me
Right.
wrong, Ron. I understand the logic behind it, but the bottom line is that we're encouraging bad business behavior. Even by the model of capitalism, even by the rules of what capitalism professes to be about, meaning that the market decides if you're going to succeed or fail. So basically, what we're doing is going against the model of capitalism, which is what we're supposed to be, by saying these companies are too big to fail.
When we talk about, because we can go on about monopolies if we want to question capitalism. When we're talking about capitalism, what are we really talking about, Jonathan? People say it goes against the rules. What rules of capitalism? What rules?
The definition of what capitalism is.
What is capitalism?
Capitalism is the market decides what's best for the people.
And one more thing,
Make that
What's that?
money.
accounting.
Accounting, right?
Accounting. Those are the
Make
only
that
two
money.
things that's going to differentiate capitalism from anything else in terms of an economic system, because it was mercantilism until then.
Right.
So now that you're keeping a ledger, you're able to determine, hey, I can manipulate now the market to make sure I yield a better bottom end.
Okay.
There are no rules about, hey, you got to be ethical in this way or you have to behave in that way.
No one's talking about ethical.
capitalism.
No one's talking about
But there are
ethical.
no rules.
There are rules to capitalism.
There are rules in terms of how you can conduct
Because-
business.
because
but there are
the
no rules.
But
to
the rules of capitalism literally states that the market is supposed to decide. So when a company,
That's
when a
the philosophy.
company,
That's the economic philosophy.
right?
Yes.
So when a company has overextended itself, when a company has borrowed more than its income is,
okay,
you're saying that company, by those guidelines of what capitalism is supposed to be about,
if they didn't make their bottom line,
they
would
should
go
fail,
under.
right?
That's how it works.
But we didn't do that.
Right, because who wants that kind of a level of unemployment?
But again,
You got 300
But-
and something million.
but
people.
does the government care about the unemployment?
They
No.
care, they care about their stability and security.
Exactly.
Because of
so
how the
it's not
people
about the
live.
jobs.
It's
It-
because
and
of how
and
the
we're-
people
now we're right back to
respond.
what we started talking
Absolutely.
about. It's not about the job.
It is about the job.
It is not about the job.
I
It
promise
is
you.
about their profit and their stability.
Because of how we would react. We learned very well about the Bolshevik Revolution. These people are not dumb. It is about the jobs. Now, the job is a tool to keep some type of level, some level of orderliness within your society. So you
It's
can
a
have
way to-
everybody
it's a
going
way to
crazy.
quiet the
Be able to
masses.
collect taxes.
It's
But
a way to
shit,
quiet the masses, is what it is.
Jobs
Yes.
is a way to quiet the masses.
Yes.
I see that. I feel
Yeah,
it.
I
I can
agree.
see that.
It's a way to
But
quiet
it's-
the
but
masses.
it's
Because
necessary.
they know if
It's
they
necessary.
they know if these companies fail, they know if these companies fails like they should have,
Mhm.
then we would say, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all doing. We need to get some new people in here. We need to get some better people to run our situation
So-
because this is not working.
So you realize, like, when companies go under, like, that affects a whole lot of other shit.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Which will send your entire system into like an economic recession, if not depression, right?
But is the way that we're doing it the right way?
So you're gonna sacrifice your national security.
Sure.
You're gonna sacrifice
Sure.
now the dollar. Oh my God, what can you buy with
Sure.
a dollar now?
Well,
I would
Under
sacrifice
those,
it.
under those conditions,
I would
how
sacrifice
is that gonna affect your foreign relations with other countries? in
because
terms
the
of your
bottom
trade?
line is going to be out of that would come a better government, a government that is a better government and better capitalism if you want to stick with the capitalist system.
bruh, we don't have to stick with the capitalist system. An open market, free market is just an open free market.
An
Now,
open free market is a concept of capitalism. You can't separate the two.
Okay, so Jonathan, if you look at China right now, they have what kind of government?
I believe they're considered a communist.
What kind of economy do they have?
I'm not sure.
Capitalists
I don't really follow China very much.
That's how they're able to do everything that they're able to do.
True.
They have a capitalist economy by a communist government.
which makes no sense in sense of
It makes no
communism.
sense. But what you're looking at is the communist government is taking the same exact role, such as the SEC and all these other federal guidelines that control the conduct of business. But the market itself is the market itself. If the shit goes under and everybody was to lose jobs at the rate you say you just let them go under, John, we would not have a stable society at all.
True.
On no level.
True. But we would have a society that would be better off because of the failure.
Brother,
How do you
now we would see a civil war.
how do you learn? You learn by making mistakes, right?
We don't want to see that kind of bloodshed.
How do we? But am I right? Am I right?
No, you're not.
I'm not right. So we don't learn from mistakes.
Oh well, yeah, we learn from mistakes.
Okay,
but you
so
don't
that's
keep,
my point.
You don't keep doing the same thing over and
Right.
over.
But that's what these companies keep doing. That's what
Intentionally,
what
yes.
this capitalist system has bred.
Those
Companies who don't learn from their mistakes
Those
because
are-
they keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again, and they put us in a situation where our tax dollars have to bail them out.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that. All I'm saying is, why do our tax dollars have to back them out? Because we don't want our society and my comfort interrupted. Period.
But sometimes it should be interrupted.
Jonathan, have you ever just lost Wi-Fi for 2 hours?
Yes.
Lost power for 2 hours?
I've been jobless for a year.
Okay, so you had to deal with that in a certain way. You're not as dependent on electronics. You have a whole group of people, if they can't access their tablets in 10 minutes, there's a fucking problem.
Like crack.
You're going to take people that are that volatile in that area of their life and overhaul that shit every single time the market falls?
And guess what would happen is the market would stop falling so often.
Oh, Lord Jesus. No, Jonathan. No,
Because these companies would realize what they can and can't do.
No.
Right now, we made them feel like Superman.
No.
They can do no wrong because we always bail them out.
No, Jonathan. No.
So you think they would continue to keep
No.
doing the same thing over and over?
We would go right back to where we was anyway. Because what you have is when you're dealing with a large amount of land like we have, and you're looking at the resources that it takes to keep us going, we go through a whole lot. We waste 10 times as much as we use.
Right.
That's how good it is to be here.
Right.
Okay.
True.
Now, if you are looking at that, you're looking at a level of comfort across the board that most people in their respective countries would never see.
Right.
You could go to individuals in the hood and they living better than probably about 75% of the people on the planet when you start talking about access to water.
True.
And centralized air heating.
True.
And immunization, healthcare. We got it good. You mean to tell me you're gonna let these people understand and have that interrupted?
No,
every time the market fluctuates like
they won't, because what's going to happen is once that happens, then what we're going to do is we're going to change the government. We're going to change.
Okay.
We're going to change those things.
There we go.
So we're
There
going
we go.
We're going to put a different
I'm glad
system in
you-
place
I'm glad
because
you
we
brought
realize
that
that system doesn't work.
I'm glad
That's
you brought
my
that
point.
up. I see you have. I knew you had a socialist idea in mind. I knew you did.
I've already. I stated up front. I am a democratic socialist.
See, that's not us.
Right.
That's we're America.
But it's only
That's
not us
not
because
us.
we have said it's not us. It could be us.
Whether we said it is us, we've implemented certain things from socialist and
never been us.
social security.
It's
But
never
from day
been us.
one, from day
Just started
one,
doing
it
things.
was kill or be killed,
Right,
slave or
right,
get enslaved.
Right.
Period. And they won.
And make as much money
And that's
as I
where
can.
we are. And that's the way it's gonna go in America. We ain't going for no socialists, man. Not over here.
All I'm saying is it
at all.
all I'm saying is it could create a better system.
Social Security finna go out the window.
Right. They trying to get rid of it now.
No,
Because
hell no.
because
Not until I
socialism
get
works-
my money back.
because
Don't
by
turn that
default-
shit
Man, by the
off.
time we
Hell
get ready to retire, ain't gonna be no money left in
By
it.
They
default,
stole my money
exactly.
from me. I want my money back. And
By
this is what you
default,
stole
by
from me.
default, socialism works best with smaller populations.
Right.
No,
The bigger your
What's,
population
what's
grows,
the
you
largest
can't take care
population
of
you've
them.
seen that remains stable outside of China? And we're going to get into their rules and laws. What's the largest form of socialism you ever saw in your life? And
countries like Denmark, Finland, places like that.
Jonathan, those are counties, not countries. That's how big we are.
But that's the point, Ron. Is we could do it here.
There's too many people.
Because the problem is we're
You're
not
gonna interrupt
we're not talking about a pure socialist system. We're talking about a democratic socialism.
Okay,
We're talking about a system where you and I still have a vote,
okay,
where you and I can still make a decision
I
on who
understand.
runs the country.
I understand.
All we need is for the government to get out of our way and let us run it.
Sound like a Republican. Why are you gonna become a Republican?
I don't want to be a Republican.
Why?
because
That's
I don't
what they
believe in
believe.
racism.
Huh?
I don't believe in racism.
Oh, it's okay. All right. So Republicans are racist. All Republicans are racist.
Everyone I've ever met.
Even the black ones.
Oh yes.
Damn. Damn. All Republicans are racist. Call in 281-858-3107. We want to hear what y'all got to say about this. Damn. All Republicans are racist. Damn.
There are some
Even the
self-hating black folks, boy. Let me tell you.
Damn.
Uncle Rob,
Let me tell you.
Damn.
crazy.
Man. Hey man, I gotta say one thing. This was a hell of a conversation.
Yes.
I love it.
We
I
are
love it.
grown.
We would see,
And you
know
gonna
what?
live with it.
Right.
You gonna live with it.
Hey, I ain't
You gonna
moved
live
yet.
with it.
Listen,
You gonna
listen.
live with it.
part of the title for the show after this was black men wearing women's clothes to make fashion statements. Right? So being that it's almost 9:00, should we get into that or should we save that for Monday?
Let's save that for Monday.
Yeah, you be here Monday.
You know,
That's what I need.
you know.
It's gonna be the Johnny show.
I know, like now you gotta answer that. Though.
They got nothing to say.
Wait, they give me my fucking
Republicans racist? What?
Again, I'm gonna qualify that statement by saying
Yeah.
everyone I've met, and that includes my brother.
Yeah. 281-858-3107. Man, I had fun, y'all. Let's go shut it down, man.
oh, that's not good. Oh, this is it.
Yeah, ain't nobody calling. Ain't nobody calling.
Just make sure they just accurate.
What's up, Los? You a communist, he a socialist. What's up? Y'all ought to be homies.
You know, I'm
They're
communist.
both
That'll be
socialists.
tight.
You know?
Well, he's communist. He's
I'm
socialist.
damn near
By default.
communist. Right?
You know shit. Oh, he's
So listen,
If only Bernie could have won.
They wouldn't have let him do his stuff.
Love Trump.
Bernie wouldn't have got nothing done. They wouldn't have let him do anything.
He'd have tried though. I'd have been happy with the attempt because for everything he would have failed at, he probably would have. For every 5 things he would have failed at, he might have got one thing
how did you
done.
feel about President Carter?
President Carter.
No.
Honestly, I really don't have an opinion about it
Yeah,
too much because, like you said, I wasn't into politics back then.
of course.
And in the things that I've learned about politics since then, I've never really looked at Carter. I mean, I know he was panned as far as being a president because people tried to, say he wasn't a good president. But ultimately, from what I understand of his career as a president, he actually did a lot better than the people around him.
Yeah, I think so too. He was one of my favorite presidents. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
Because
until I found out one thing.
was that
Certain things that he signed into legislation, like giving when FEMA. This is something that he signed into legislation. When there's a huge issue going on, right?
Mhm.
And FEMA has to take over. He signed documents that gave FEMA all power.
Oh,
So
in his hand.
the president at that point, when FEMA takes over, the president's power
Got no
is
say.
gone, and it goes to the director of FEMA.
But we blame the president for FEMA messing up.
well, doesn't he
That's
appoint
how it
the?
is.
But the
President's just
president
a
appoints the
figurehead
director
of
of FEMA, doesn't he?
That part I'm not sure of.
If I remember right, I
They don't
believe
have
he's an
jurisdiction.
appointee.
They don't have jurisdiction wherever there's a federal emergency.
Right, wherever there's an emergency.
So
right.
let's say like if Houston got put under FEMA,
I'm sorry, Christian, I don't agree with you about Obama.
no one else. He doesn't have, he's out of jurisdiction. Carson was too good to be a politician like Obama. I mean, Carter what got Carter kicked out, losing to Reagan, for Reagan's first term, was the issue that happened in Iran. We left those wars. We left our people there.
I was all
And
about Reagan back
That's
then.
that's all you
Really?
saw on ABC News.
I never fully
That's
trusted
all you
Reagan.
saw on NBC News.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid,
That's
I thought
all
he
you
looked
saw.
shady.
He got blamed for that.
He got blamed for that.
Well, the
And
president always gets blamed for whatever's going on. We blame him.
And
I got nothing to do with
that's coming in the same decade as Vietnam.
Right.
So we're already dealing with that. We already took an L. That
Right.
hurt for
That
America.
hurt
That was
bad.
our first L.
it.
Our first real L.
Real.
And then you gonna let these
So,
guys mess with us too?
So when we took that and then they're putting that picture, and as a result of that, the Ayatollah Khomeini comes into power.
Yeah.
We put the Shah of Iran in place. He was a CIA operative.
Right.
But because he got greedy, that gave rise to the people going back to a more fundamentalist
Right.
aspect of Islam. So that's why the Ayatollah Khomeini came to power as the supreme Ayatollah, after the Shah. What's up, bro? Oh, after the Shah.
Right.
So you could make the argument that because America went in, deposed the individual that was there, put the Shah in, the Shah ran it wrong, we created the Middle East crisis. You could make that argument.
Yeah.
You could. I would dare say then if that's the case, let's go back to where BP and British Petroleum drew a line in the sand. Don't stop there. If we're gonna go to the beginning, let's go to the beginning.
Right.
Let's talk about when it really
we can say when
started. And it had nothing to do with
when
us.
Palestine became Israel.
You know what I
That
mean?
could have been the reason why that area.
We are
didn't do that.
we are a
We
major
didn't.
we are a major contributor to that atrocity.
Yeah, Carter got
No,
blamed for
period.
that. Yeah, no, like I was telling him, I was back then. I was all about Reagan. I'm a military brat living in Europe, experiencing Cold War.
Yeah.
This man's gonna take this away. Okay, I'll roll with you. But then I was young then at the time.
Yeah.
As I got older, started I'm like, man, this dude's about rich people.
Hey man,
Don't care
I'm
about
seeing a lot of
care
people in
about
the
us.
comments saying that Carter was one of their favorite presidents. As well, man.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
had
turned out to be a
America's
good
heart,
dude.
he
He turned out to be
came
a
off
good
of Goliath.
person.
They
Right.
got impeached.
Right.
And he can't,
So,
he
right.
can't, he was a good dude. He still is. He does a lot of humanitarian stuff. He's just
Yeah, he's
good-hearted
still
man.
yeah.
I read some stuff
Like I said, the
Did a lot of
only
good
thing
stuff.
that I didn't like was when he, signed
Gave that power
Yeah,
up on
yeah.
Carter did, man. I was reading through Public Enemy something, man. I can't remember. Chuck D posted something, but he was showing how there was a lot of policies Carter did that adversely affected people of color.
Really?
Yeah. And when I read it, I was almost shocked. I was like, damn, for
Yeah.
real? I can't remember what it was, to be honest with you. But it was just like one of those, okay, who the fuck gonna talk about Carter? So I kind of dismissed
Right.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
But
it's Chuck D.
exactly, you know what I mean? But I was just like saying that's why I don't really remember what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I remember.
I'm happy to
Mary
go back and
says
check
Clinton.
that out.
Clinton was
Yeah, I'd be
good.
interested to see what he had to say. That'd be
Really?
They
interesting.
like Clinton.
Yeah, Mary.
If anyone wants to call in, you
You
know
know.
the number.
Yeah, because
Dude
all
shouldn't be wearing
Republicans are
Spanx.
racist.
What the hell are you talking about, Danny?
All
That's that
Republicans
dude.
are
What he
racist.
said about
Hey,
save that for
Well,
my
Danny Brown, I agree with you 200 million %.
What the hell is Spanx?
That's the it's like a girdle, man.
For real?
They used to wear them in the military back in the day, like everybody had Spanx, right? Didn't that have something to do with the military?
Oh, I don't know that about that.
Something that they
Spanx,
wore
man.
underneath the clothes or something like that.
It like keeps you
yeah, keep your
tucked in.
your shit
Spanx?
together. Yeah.
Dude's wearing that now?
Well, he basically talking about because they wearing skinny jeans.
Oh.
We
I'm so
talk
out of
about
touch.
skirts and shit.
I'm so out of touch.
He say fat, Spanks a fat squeezer inners. That was Kristen.
That's true though.
Hey,
To put it
but
in
listen,
layman's
listen.
terms.
It is in the title of this show that we were going to talk about black men wearing female attire to make fashion statements, right?
That don't even sound right.
When I first found that out, I did the same thing, dog.
It's called Spanx.
But listen, y'all, we almost at 2 hours now. We like 12 minutes away from 2 hours. And that conversation is gonna take more than 12
that's gonna
minutes.
take some time.
Oh yes, I want to hit this.
We're gonna definitely
definitely
hit that up Monday. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back in and change. I'm gonna take that off of it.
I want to hear this so bad. I'm gonna be quiet the whole time.
No, you won't. No, you
I
won't.
will be good.
No,
I will be
you
good.
won't.
I want to learn. I want to hear this. I want to learn.
You gotta speak on it.
I want to learn. I want to learn.
Cause see, it's a lot of them. Cause see, you got people like, who Conway the Machine is?
The
Rapper, Griselda rapper, right? A rapper who is from the streets.
Okay.
I mean, he
I understand.
was shot,
Right.
face twisted.
Okay.
From all like.
What he doing, Devin?
He's got on social media with a skirt on.
What you think about that?
Yeah, I saw that shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
You don't want to know.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
And
Save
his
that for
response,
Monday, man. Let's say that
and
for
his
Monday. That's
response,
what
I wanna know.
his response,
We'll
because
talk about
everybody
it
starts
first.
calling him out for it.
Yeah.
His
Discuss what we're
response
gonna talk about.
I got a bag from that, and y'all gonna see me wearing more of that person's
Who paid him?
fashion.
Who paid?
Probably the designer.
The designer of
That's it,
that
right.
skirt, right?
Damn.
So that means
That
to
he would
me,
do anything for money.
you willing to
Damn.
sell your soul
Anything. You'll do anything
to
for
make
money.
money.
There's an admission
Anything.
of something.
Exactly.
It's an underlying
Exactly.
admission. You
That's
said
the shit
that.
we're gonna discuss
Yeah.
Monday.
Monday, how
Sure
much
enough.
were you willing to sell your soul for?
Exactly,
Right.
man. So listen, once again, I'm
Nothing
gonna
no
give a
other
shout
man.
out to
That's
everybody.
for sure. That's for sure.
Not to wear no
That's for
dresses.
sure. I may
Yeah,
sell my
man.
soul
Wear no
out for-
dresses.
$100 billion.
I'm not saying I may not be tempted. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I may not be tempted.
You might want to wear
I mean, the
One-
bag,
but
the
one
bag
of
could be big enough to tempt anybody.
But one
see, the
of them
thing
that ain't
is-
gonna tempt me.
I seen your legs. You could pull it off.
I see your legs. You can pull it
Can y'all see that? We're gonna talk about it Monday. We're gonna talk about it
Yeah,
Monday.
that's what's up.
You see who that is, right?
No, they said here Omar Epps.
That's
and,
Westbrook.
Westbrook.
Yes.
Oh, that's what they were just saying
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
That's Westbrook, man.
Yeah.
Westbrook got on the whole
Westbrook
skirt.
and Omar Epps.
Yeah, man. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into
See,
it.
I suspected that of Westbrook though. I never like that.
I don't care.
No, they got
I
no, Mary.
would never agree with
We
that.
got a basketball player, Westbrook. We looking at it. We looking at it, man.
So listen,
She
y'all.
said kilts are hot. Good point. Good point. But them niggas got bagpipes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't see no
That's not a
bagpipes.
kilt. That's not a kilt.
I don't see no
And what
bagpipes.
Conway had on was not a kilt. This was skirts.
Man, on the cool, when I was over in England,
Yeah.
there was this dude, man, 'cause I was like about 20 miles south of Scotland. Man, there was this dude on this bridge, and he had on the whole thing, man, the bagpipe, the
Full regalia.
everything, full regalia. That was that dude was like really masculine. He was like really
No
built,
doubt.
angular jaw. And like at first you're like, look at this dude in the damn dress. But when I saw this, I was like, all right, man, whatever.
That's what
You
they
know
do.
what I'm saying?
That's
No doubt.
I'm like,
No
shit.
doubt. But see,
I'm like,
skirts
whatever.
back in Rome.
I see
that's
how.
not that.
I understand that.
That's
I
not that.
understand that.
In no
I
form of
understand
fashion.
that. I
That is
understand
not
that.
the same thing.
I understand
From
that.
that, from
I
that,
understand
that might start getting shorter.
All I'm saying,
Shorter.
man.
It don't matter
Oh,
if
it's
it
gonna start
get
getting
long.
shorter on the man.
No,
Oh,
but see,
no.
my point is this: it don't matter if it got longer or shorter.
It's gonna get shorter.
That man is in a dress,
And
a skirt.
they finna get short.
Do you remember the conversation we had after the last time I was on the
Yes,
show?
yes,
We talked about the programming.
yes,
That's your program.
exactly.
Woman or man
Exactly.
changes
And
throughout
that's what we're gonna
True,
discuss
men used to
Monday.
wear skirts.
So listen, I
Thank you.
appreciate y'all for
Greeks,
being
they
here.
wore skirts.
Much
Even the Spartans
love.
wore skirts.
Huh?
Even the Spartans wore
Wait,
skirts.
Yeah. Rome ruled the world for 2,000 years in skirts.
Right.
I want to hear more.
So
Yeah.
Nice says women or man clothes changes throughout history. It's personal style.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
But now that
So-
was a dress.
hey Kevin, hey Danny, I ain't gonna forget about y'all karate jokes. I just want y'all to know
Karate-
that.
Karate
He gonna
man,
karate
he's
chop
inside.
y'all.
I'm right here. I'm
Nice.
right here. I want you
We're
to know
gonna
that.
talk about it Monday. We're gonna talk about it Monday.
Yeah.
I appreciate all of y'all, man. Much love. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for riding with us.
Oh,
Same
shout
bad
outs.
time.
Shout
Same
outs.
bad
Shout
time.
No,
Monday.
shout outs. We need some more
Shout outs.
And
Okay.
if we're gonna do a 2-hour, do it full 2
I
hours.
bet,
Shout
bet
outs.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, then let me give a shout out to the
Angela.
yeah, to
You got
Angela Rice, man. Her whole out of the mouth of babes. It was very successful. It went down on the 18th.
program.
It went down on
This
this
is
on the
good.
18th,
I
man.
can
It was a
understand.
beautiful thing. It helped the kids,
See.
man. It was
thought he was more into
beautiful.
the
Even your
baby.
boy Hard
I
Body
didn't know
Kiati
anything
came
about it.
through. He supported, you know, so it was very successful, man. And thank you everybody who supported her and helped her get to that goal so she could help those kids. And it was a beautiful thing, man. So I really want to appreciate it. Thank you for your contribution as well, man.
Everybody in the comments.
And
Everybody in the
everybody
comments.
in the comments that contributed. Much love to y'all. Thank y'all for that. I want to give a shout out also to Juggernaut. That's my brother. He also has his own company. It's, Juggertech PC Solutions.
I'm trying
Any
to
type
get
of
I'm trying to
IT
get him on the
information.
show. I'm trying to get him on
Oh,
the
he's
show.
going to be on the show. Any type of IT, anything dealing with IT that you need, whether it's home or business, he got you covered. If y'all want to get in touch with him, let us know or look him up on the internet. It's Juggertech PC Solutions. JUGGATECH PC Solutions. Anybody else want to?
Yeah, man. I got one, man. We had got a major sponsor, man. Carlos Alvarez Karate Academy. Thank you. I want to thank y'all so much.
Black hand.
I'm gonna have-
With the black hand.
I'm gonna have the shirts printed up.
Karate man, be inside.
Have the shirts printed up.
I'm a student called Black Hand.
That's black hand.
Bobby Black Hand.
Bobby Black Hand, the Karate Man.
Bobby Black Hand, the Karate Man.
Man, turn that shit off, man.
Peace. We finna keep this going. This about to be here. It's about to get raw.
Use your black hand,
Well,
Bobby.
man.
Hit it. Press it.
Use the
David Short,
criminal
we
hand.
out.
It ain't over
The
yet.
criminal hand.
It ain't over yet.
It ain't over yet.
It ain't over yet. Nah, it's gonna be over.
Black hand.
Put your black hand to work.
Love.